Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Die Roll Lost Horizon. Got the whole cast here. Thank you to PR who filled in last week. We had a lot of fun with him. Current, are we still got issues? Okay, yeah, we may have some audio issues. So if Elenia sounds scary, she's working on it. That being said, we're back. You guys ready to pick up where we left off? Is Hypoas brought up to speed? Did Caddy freeze, or is she just really thinking about it? Timing.
Oh,
Caddy's back.
But you're also muted.
Though, but back.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I know I'm muted, but I was trying to figure out what's happening with.
She was testing the rest of us to make sure we knew she was muted.
No.
All right. So it's a rocky start. Welcome to technical difficulties. We may experience some dire roll. Vegas, why don't you give us the recap?
Why you gotta call me out like that?
It's my job.
Last we saw our intrepid adventurers. Most of the crew was completely fuckered on the Involucre, it having been invaded by I don't want to say soldiers, I want to say like elite commandos from the Saldrosi Empire. And Slag turned on. And they proceeded to just wreck shit with the Saldrosi Empire elite commandos. Along with Razik, and they were able to wake up Elenia. And
Elise.
then... Sorry, Elise. Yes, wake up Elise. I'm not in character yet. Sorry. And then Irene got back along with Doc and Wesh. And shit went south even further because they then found out that there were people in the upper deck, the bridge deck of the Involucre, who locked everything down and shut off life support. And they made plans, and they were gonna assault, like a two-pronged assault thing going on, but that didn't work because the Saldrin was listening in on everything, so they shot Doc and blasted him off into the void because he was hanging on the outside of the ship. That was part of the two-pronged attack. And Irene got mad. Irene got real mad because she finally had a real connection with a real living person. And then they decided, fuck it, we're just going in, and they went in and whooped ass and Slag, like they are wont to do, just took massive beating and still beat back because they are an absolute beast of a bot.
We also discovered at the time that he was even stronger than what he was portraying. We just figured that out after.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had 3 extra wound boxes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we killed all the things except for 2 of the things, which we let those things live. And in an attempt to intimidate one of those things, Irene asked Slag to escort the other of those things to the airlock, and Slag, being the understanding and thoughtful and quick-witted sim droid that they are, had heard some slight discussion of spacing it. So they spaced it. So the threat went fulfilled unintentionally. And then Doc started working on fixing all of the organic.
being
No,
Razik.
sorry, Razik.
Yeah.
Razik.
Dead
Dr.
Doc.
Razik got to work on fixing all of the organic things, and Irene went to work on fixing all of the non-organic things while also working on the drones for the Thuge asshole back on the derelict. And I think that's where we left it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
going to be like 1 or 2 more days, and then all the drones are going to be online, and you guys are going to put your plan into action. That was an incredibly
12 hours.
12 hours, approximately how long
Yeah.
your recap went.
Wow, fuck off. That's what you get for asking me to recap.
Yeah, lesson learned.
I appreciate that it was thorough. I previous side I had someone ask me for a recap of a session in our D&D game, so I sent my in-character journal entry that was like 3 pages long, and they went, "Okay, never mind, never again." You wanted it.
You get what you ask
You
for.
asked for it. Does that sound better, by the way?
That does sound better, but now I'm going to
Yes.
turn you up.
Yeah.
I turned my own microphone down. I was hoping that would fix the issue.
Okay, you're still a
No,
little
it's
loud.
perfect.
Put you back at where you're at. Talk, speak, apparition.
I don't want to.
Oh, I think you're good.
Sounds great. It's lovely to
It
hear your
sounds-
voice again.
I had almost forgotten what it sounded like. Oh, okay. So before we get into the meat of today, some rules clarification for anyone who cares. Some people care. I care. So let's go ahead and talk about some rules. We found out that you can, in fact, go higher than plus or minus 6 steps. Every step after 6 is another d20. So that means Irene could have rolled, much higher than only 50. So there's that. Another thing we found out is that if you are evading and you have cover, they do not stack. You take the higher of the two. Which means that Slag not evading was actually mechanically sound because he has a cover shield. So, bada bing, bada boom. Now, the following segment is entirely y'all's idea, and I have no idea how it's gonna go. So, let's go ahead and start today off with everybody getting a hero point. Let me take a swig of my olive oil.
Tasty, tasty olive oil.
Now that I'm well lubricated. Let's begin. So, after days of working with Halkerite and a Halkerite and a bunch of Reaper Syndicate forced labor, you now have 12 operational drones that you are pretending to hand over to Woolot, the leader of, well, the only living member of the Thuge cartel present, and his army of battle bots. Music incoming. Yeah, so let's talk about your back door that you built into these. You have an override. Originally, your 10 Brigger was going to have an override, but he is somewhere decompressed in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And very dead.
Very much dead.
Doc's on his way to save him.
Oof. Meanwhile, I believe everybody except for Elise that's still on the ship, not Elise, everyone except for Hypois still on the ship, their vac suits got ruined.
Yes.
So they can't leave the ship.
Yes.
Right. So, my question, to start things off, is where is everybody right now? When it's time to unleash the drones.
Am I in any better shape than...
Yeah, your sheet should be updated.
Okay.
That is post-surgery wounds.
Okay.
I know it doesn't look
So-
great, but that's post-surgery wounds.
That's way better than all of the wound boxes are full.
Yeah, which in fact, that's where you left off. Was all the wound boxes being full.
I know.
Oh, and what
remember.
Vegas was referring to was the Slag has talents that give them extra wound boxes, and PR didn't know how to input that on my custom sheets, so we were playing off of Slag not having enough wound boxes that it should have.
Didn't know, or
Didn't know how to do it. Yeah, he thought it was automated, which, you know, I guess he thought higher of me than I was able to perform.
That's a trap we all fall into every now and then.
So yeah,
no, my expectations for Jagan are pretty level.
I don't know how to take that, but I don't care anymore. Moving on. So where is everybody? I mean, obviously Irene is with Wolot, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously Elise and Razik are on the Involuker.
Yep.
So that really just leaves where Hypoist is. And Caddy is having internet issues. So that's good.
She's also complaining about said internet issues in chat that you can't see.
Yeah.
Well, let's all hold perfectly still so that when it's fixed for her, she won't realize. All right, that's enough of that bit. Oh,
Hello.
so nope,
Nope.
maybe.
It worked. Okay, sorry. It just kind of stopped.
Vegas, we weren't doing the bit.
Kind of stopped.
Vegas, we're not doing. Vegas, we're not doing the bit.
That's the problem, that he's got a green screen going, so his green screen's still moving.
Right?
You're the only person who can't do the bit.
Yeah, like quite actually. So where is Hypoist? Hypoist is the only character who is both free to leave the ship, and we don't know where they would be when the drones go off.
I mean, if there's not a very specific reason that someone needs to leave the ship, Hypoist really isn't up to it. So I think he's. I want to be. I feel like he would be present, but also he kind of just came back from a near-death situation, and he doesn't have the like psychic I'm going to shrug off all of my damage thing going for him. So he's very much like realizing his mortality, probably for the first time. So it's a very much like I'm going to sit inside, like in my shock blanket, like waiting for things to happen, because like I did everything I need to do. Fuck, you can do it.
Okay. So before I get the ball rolling, do you guys want to tell the game master of what plans you have in place for how this is going to go down, so that, you know, there's no confusion?
Confusion is the plan.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as we're trying to confuse the enemy. Like, oh no, they've started attacking. But also, we don't necessarily want any of them to survive it.
Yeah. So I think the updated plan probably would be that since the Reapers can't actually use an override and stop the Thuj from destroying them, and we don't have a living contact among the Reapers anymore. Well, we've got Rocky Boy that's helping fix the drones, but he's just a hired hand. And we kind of don't like the Reapers to begin with.
I dislike the Thuj more than I dislike the Reapers. So.
Right, but what we could... Irene would
not the whole
suggest
race
at some point that let the Thuj use the drones to drive off the Reapers, then override and blast the shit out of the Thuj and get the Thuge out of here.
Yeah, and then
And
like
then we have
salvage the carcass like a bunch of vultures. Yeah.
and we have the carcass of a control carrier.
Yeah, we're gonna let the hyenas and lions fight over it, and then we'll come in later and get the good stuff off of it.
Yeah. Except we're vultures with really big guns.
Okay. The drone command and control center is deep within the hull of the control carrier by design. So how are you going to use the drones to kill the cartel? Have you thought that far? Or is Irene just flying by the seat of her overalls?
I thought we do something like
She wears cargo.
bring
She wears
him
cargo
to him,
pants.
like, hey, look at the
know.
drones, they're all fixed, and then when he's looking at them.
The drones are pretty big.
Yeah, no, we were gonna let him like make use of it for a little while. I had kind of assumed that like that was what the programming was for, was like a remote access.
Right. The drones are controlled from the CNC, though.
Couldn't we? No, we haven't prepared for that. But would it be possible to remote into the CNC?
That's what the override is for.
Yeah, the override is supposed to do that.
Well, you could, in theory, try to operate the drones from the Involucre bridge, but since you don't have the infrastructure, you can probably only give commands to one drone at a time.
But would the override be shutting down the commands on everything else
Yes.
during that?
The override, basically, they don't have the access key anymore to talk to the drones. Only you do.
Okay.
So even though you'd be limited in how many you can control at once, the other ones would just be floating there harmlessly.
Would we be able to like set up and try to create some way to speak with slightly more drones at a time while the Thuge cartel is kind of just doing their own thing?
Well, while he's controlling them to scare off the Reapers, we take that time to beef
Program a new, yeah.
technobabble time.
Oh,
Go
here it
for it.
comes.
I believe in you.
To increase the retroactive waveform output of our communications array in order to backdoor into multiple drones at one time.
That was pretty good.
Would that be possible? Is what we're asking.
Well, you would have to rearrange some stuff on the bridge, but I suppose you could change. Maybe be able to operate two of them at once. But the thing is, with drones, you can give them an order. They'll do that, and then you can switch to the next drone. So,
I just like to speed up the process.
there's just a slowdown between when you give the orders to, instead of being able to select all and right click in your RTS.
Yeah. We'd rather be able to select a few at a time.
Right.
Like as long as we're waiting around for them to chase the Reapers off, we might as well do something useful.
All right. Well, how about somebody give me a computer check on the Involucre to
I've
kind
got
of
-3, so
kind of rig that boy up.
But I'll cheer you on. I can help you.
I'm not currently on the Involucre, so
Right. So while that's happening, we're gonna cut to a scene in the lounge of the Involucre, where Wesh is sitting there, presumably having a conversation with Slag, and we're coming in at what appears to be the climax of this conversation, with Wesh going, you know what? We're still kind of fuzzy on that conversion rate, but I think I will get some life insurance. Slag? And he kind of pushes Slag. Slag snaps. Hey, I think Slag stopped working. 8 for Hypoist.
-3.
Yeah.
I go into the lounge, nudge Slag to make sure he's actually not working, and then I slide him over to the door, prop him up like a hat rack, and proceed to hang something on him and leave.
Okay.
I love Elise's little sense of humor comes out every once in a while. Like, otherwise, she walking around like, I shrug off mortal wounds. I swallow glass.
I'm
And then,
trying to.
but every once in a while, she's like, hat rack. It's good.
So I take it an 8 is a failure by your...
Only barely, oddly enough. But yeah, I've got a -3 from those critical wounds.
Yeah.
So
is that going to be a hero point or moving on?
I think hero point. We're still going to be able to... not hero point, because we're still going to be able to do something even if I don't get this done. It's just not going to be as fast.
Okay. Good call.
Take a nap.
Does anyone else want to make any preparations before we're live with the plan?
Is there any way we could prepare our suits?
Nope. Well, Irene probably could. You guys do have the portable fabricator, so you could probably print out the parts you need. You just gotta you basically have to reassemble the vac suits, and that would probably be a mechanics check.
And the portable fabricator at this point is now done printing the part we needed for our drive.
The
Okay.
involucre,
it just needs to be installed.
Yeah. The involucre is ready to go, basically.
You have a -2 step, so... And I don't have any mechanics, so yeah, okay. Never mind.
I'm going to go ahead and say, like, since Irene was basically supervising for the last day, she probably could have got on the comms and walked through the installation of that part. So let's go ahead and say the involucre is functional.
Cool. Vac suits, not so much.
Right.
And since Razik cannot help any further, aside from medical rehabilitation, I don't have anything that would be important for the plan on my end.
Okay.
Just a super brief question for the crew. Once we get the Thuj and the Reapers out of here, what was our plan with this derelict again?
I thought we were just going to strip it of everything the Reapers could use that was dangerous and then take off.
Yeah, we were going to salvage materials, especially since the Reapers were here in particular for weapons materials. But we were also interested in some of the information it might contain about interstellar travel from before.
Right.
Oh gosh, yeah, what's the word? Because it was an exploratory ship, and because it was previously owned by the
Sphere Mandate.
Yes. Well, was it owned by the Sphere Mandate, or was it owned by like a pre-Sphere Mandate version of the Sphere Mandate?
It was the Sphere Mandate.
Yeah,
okay.
This was like 50 years ago.
Yeah, but it was still an exploratory vessel, which might contain information that would allow for better stealthy interstellar travel, so that people could find new ways around the solar system without being controlled by the two oppressive regimes.
Right.
Other than that, weapon systems might be good to beef up the involucre, or otherwise keep it out of the wrong hands.
So when we're gonna strip it for parts, strip it for information, and then when we're done with it, are we setting it back on course into the black hole so that no one else can get it?
Potentially. I mean, stripping it for parts is like because we didn't think it would be the kind of thing we could rehabilitate and make use of on our own.
Okay.
Correct? Like it's not something we could restore.
Well, looking at the condition of it now,
yeah,
even without GM input, Irene will say nope.
Yeah, it would just take too much.
Probably the only people who could restore it would be the Sphere Mandate, and they probably wouldn't want to. It would probably be cheaper just to build a new one.
Yeah, like my car. So
I feel that.
we'll just be scrapping it effectively.
Okay.
Take everything that's useful.
Well, as soon as
Unless
Razik
you
reads
guys have
Foundry
a different
chat,
vote.
But roll medicine for yourself. Treatment specialization. Okay. Do my med pack applies or no?
I mean, it probably. This is for like recovery, so I don't know.
I don't care if not. Let's say
This
not.
is for rehab, so no.
So +1, +1. The medical room. Does that help?
No, this is for. Go ahead and get like a +1 step for your med pack.
Okay, so that would be +3 so far. I'll take that. +3.
Okay.
That is excellent.
Okay, now give me a resilience check with a +2 step.
Resilience +2. That is an average.
Okay. Clear your moderate wound. It would convert to a light wound, and then because it's been a day and a half.
All right.
It's probably been about 48 hours total. So yeah, so Razik is healthy as a horse. Those of you with serious wounds, one more day, we can do the same process. All right, the hour has upon us. Wolot has his battle bots man the stations of the drone CNC. I actually have here. Don't know how to just put one person on a scene. Oh, I guess I can configure it so that you can go to it yourself. Then you can manually do it. How do I do that again? Oh, accessibility, all players, save changes. All right, so Irene, if you want to move over to drone CNC, it's not super relevant. No, just for fun.
This doesn't make me super excited or confident.
Okay. So the battle bots get to work. The drones launch, and from the bridge, we'll just say everybody's on the bridge of the Involuker. You guys watch as 12 fairly old Sphere Mandate drones launch a surprise attack against the Reaper forces. Now, even though these Reaper ships are probably more modern than these drones, we're still talking about scrapped together civilian ships that were stolen or salvaged themselves with weapons that are kind of bootstrapped on versus 12 old, albeit but still military grade drones. Suffice to say, the battle's going well for the drones. After about 10 minutes of exchange fire, a handful of the drones have been destroyed. 2 of the Reaper ships have been destroyed, and another is disabled. And the other 3 decide they've lost contact with their forces on the ground, and now they're getting harassed by drones. They don't know how many more there are, so you watch as the remaining 3 Reaper ships bug out. And in the control center, Wolot rather nonchalantly tells his battlebots to finish off the last Reaper ship.
It's disabled and defenseless.
Right. Think of it as a mercy killing. They're gonna run out of air soon anyway.
Or we could pick them up and bring them here? Prisoners of war?
Just do it, bots.
I really think that's a bad idea. I really, really think you should reconsider.
I've got enough prisoners as it is.
Well, don't
you
say
sure?
I didn't warn you.
Yeah, but to say, because he's not coming away on our ship, so he's either going to take that ship out of here or he's staying here.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how you're planning on leaving without that ship.
Don't concern yourself with the plan. You're just here to get paid.
I pressed the
Planning on
button.
Yeah.
leaving with our ship.
Oh yeah. I hit the button.
One of the battle bots goes, "Sir, the controls are not responding." What? And he looks at Irene. What's wrong with them?
Hold on. Let me check. Let me get a diagnostic from my ship. Captain, could you tell me exactly why we lost control of the drones down here? Like, they don't seem to be moving. Could you do something about maybe fixing that?
I'll see what I can do. Yeah, I'm gonna start sending commands to the drones. I guess our idea for what to command them specifically was just to start the problem is if I attack where the Thush cartel is, you're there.
I can get out.
And then I'm my own worst enemy.
I can get out.
Well, with a wave of his hand, Willot says, "It doesn't matter. Time to call in the reinforcements. You did well, Irene. You did well."
I'm gonna start commanding. Yeah, I'll start commanding the.
Oh no! I heard a noise.
Yeah,
I did too.
He walked over.
I'll start
Oh.
commanding the.
I forgot something real quick.
Drones.
Nope, that's the wrong button.
Also, I should put myself on the bridge. 1 second. Can I get up to the bridge on this map?
I don't think without GM's intervention you can.
Yeah, sorry. I can put you all on the bridge.
He walked away?
Yeah, he went through a door.
Oh, well, I mean, clearly I need to do some work from here to restore communications to the drones, so I'm going to go ahead and tap into this ship's communications.
Hooray.
Okay, well, these consoles aren't designed to do that, but they could with some, finagling. So you want to roll a finagling check?
That's absolutely what I would like to do.
Okay.
I love a good old-fashioned finagling check.
And that would be computers.
Okay, modifiers?
Well, this is Empyrean tech that you're trying to do something that it's not designed to do, so I'm going to say it would be a -3, which is reduced to a -2 because you are...
I thought it was Exalvi tech.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what's wrong with my brain. No modifiers.
Literally wrote the story.
Okay, so a +1 because expert.
Listen, Caddy, I've had a weekend, okay?
That's
abysmal.
that's a 4.
What did you roll?
A 2 and a 2.
2 out of 2.
That's the double deuce.
Fucking sip, bro.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get back on the horn with the ship. Apparently he's calling in the reinforcements.
Maybe the drones could malfunction and go in interception mode.
Irene, do you know where they are? Or where they will be?
No.
Which direction did he go? You can't make a guess on where he would be in the ship?
Oh, you saw him go through this door, right? Yeah.
I mean, he's still nearby, but I assume he meant reinforcements as in ships that were waiting just out of sensor range.
Yeah, but we can always take him out.
Well,
Then
if
what
we
are
have
they gonna
control of the drones, can't we send the drones after them?
Yeah, but let's take the drones after him first before he tells the reinforcements.
Yeah, do me a solid. Go ahead and send them after the communications nodule on the should be on the port side, port dorsal side of the ship.
Okay. Then that is what I will command the drones to do, one at a time.
Okay.
And I'm gonna follow him.
The drones descend on the communications nodule.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, it's what I came up with, okay?
I really like it.
And you said you're gonna follow Willot? Okay, yeah.
Affirmative.
And move your
That's
token.
a terrible idea. I mean,
Irene has a tid PP. Irene will be fine.
Irene's all like, I am going to walk exactly into the area that you're sending the big threat to.
You open the door and Willot immediately turns to you and says, "We just lost communications."
Nani! And then Irene shows up behind him. Nothing personnel.
You're muted, Vegas.
I mean, this is an old ship, so it is prone to malfunctions, and sometimes systems. You know what? Fuck it. Just die. Pew pew.
All right.
That is not the noise it makes.
Take a shot.
100% canonically the noise it makes.
Take the shot.
Take the shot.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Thank you, Wayne Gretzky. It's
Trust me, I missed a lot of shots I did take.
just a straight shot, so static +1. Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, baby, a triple.
Oh, poor Warlock. That's a stellar.
Yeah, I kind of. By the way you were talking, sounded like a stellar.
Yeah, it's 100% a stellar.
Egon go whoop.
11 energy damage, AP3, irradiate, tech era 9, twice.
Okay.
The 9th tech level? When did that happen?
So that's 11 damage twice on that tracker. So that's a boopty followed by a shoopty. Well, you're not gonna like this, but he looks down at the hole in his chest and looks back at you with what you assume to be a sneering malevolence. All right, Irene.
I mean, what part of die did you not understand?
Is he irradiated though?
Oh, is that? I think it's an endurance check, right?
It is endurance, yeah.
Okay, let's find out if he's irradiated. He has an endurance of 15 plus with no bonuses, and he's got a -2 penalty because you just shot the crap out of him. Yes, he's irradiated with a 9. All right,
Get wrecked.
let's do some initiative.
Irene's just gonna wait on him.
Go behind cover, full defense, just wait it out.
Right. That, good sir, is excellent on initiative.
Okay.
With a 16.
Woolot got a 0. You know, the hole has a hole in his chest.
Yeah, it happens.
Unfortunately for me, both the creature types are on the same Word document here, so I'm going to write down page numbers so I can quickly zip-zappity between the two of them. Nope, wrong warbots. Correct warbots page.
No, warbots aren't involved.
Yeah, actually they are.
No, they're really not.
Yeah, they kind of are. Fail, 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 fail. They all failed. Alright, so you succeeded with a what? Well, it doesn't matter, they all failed.
Yeah.
Okay, so, doop. Okay. And then, it's gonna be, I'll just do like, you know, it's just warbot, 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 warbot. Pull up. Alright, now since they all failed, I'm just gonna add 1 impulse to their first action. And, Irene, you're up.
I mean, he's gonna get shot again, but I'm gonna take a step back before I do.
Okay.
No. He's gonna get shot, and then I'm gonna make my 2-meter adjustment.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be a straight shot. No, we're gonna go ahead and add the +1 impulse to aim, so it'll be a +3 because holographic imaging. That's oh, you poor man.
Another stellar?
No, that one is excellent. 20 is my stellar on
Gotcha.
that. But still.
So only 1 wound box.
Yeah.
And he can't,
16 of it.
Oh,
though.
16 with the. Well, that's
hurtful.
I think that's gonna be his -3 slot. Is there's the. Oh, you can't do page scanning on Open Office? That's fun. I have to manually go to the fucking page like a savage. Okay, yeah. So that's gonna be his -3 bucks.
Goddamn barbarian.
Alright, so you checked his -3 bucks, so another hit like that and he's donezo.
And I adjusted to right here.
Okay. And that was a 4 impulse action?
That was 4 impulse, correct.
Alright, Cartel Battle Bot number 1 can't see you, so he's gonna take a 1 impulse. All the battle bots are gonna take their 1 impulse to get their guns out, so which is gonna turn into a 2 impulse because they're supposed to be 1 behind. Alright, meanwhile, Woolot is probably going to do the same. Yes, he's going to take 1 impulse to get his 2 flechette pistols out. Then we're back to the battle bots.
No flechette pistols.
Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 meters, and it's ducking behind the counter. That's a 2 impulse move. Next battle bot is in that chair, so it's just gonna take a 2-meter step adjust and just shoot at Irene.
Now, is there any cover modifier for me being halfway down these stairs?
He's at the top of the stair. It's at the top of the stairs, so I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Oh no, you're on the next staircase. Yeah, I'm still. I don't think so.
Okay.
So it's gonna use its assault laser. It has +2 steps to hit, and it needs a 13. It missed. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. And 12. It's gonna start going down the stairs. That's a move action. And the last BattleBot is going to take a 2-meter shift and get behind cover and shoot at you. Oof. That is going to be a excellent success. These are minions, so do you have 7 or less energy armor?
Yes.
Take your lowest available wound box.
So a graze.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and that was a 3 impulse. Woolot's turn. Woolot is going to take a 2-meter. Yeah, that's what it's going to do. It's going to be a 2 impulse action. Your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna take 2-meter step back up here.
All right, he is behind that piece of machinery, so he's got half cover.
That's okay. I'm gonna aim at him anyway.
Okay. So half cover is a
So-
-2 step.
Yep, and aiming is +2, so that negates. So the +1 for being spec'd into assault weapon. That is going to be
A normal hit.
an
Average.
average,
Yep.
yeah. Where's my damage? There it is. 5 energy, AP3, irradiate, etc., etc. That's a crap roll.
It's a pretty shit roll. Okay, that is going to be one of his smaller room boxes. All right, and that was
And that's 4.
4. Okay. How many need to do this? 3 BattleBots? Okay. So the first 3 BattleBots are going to hold action and all act as 1. So I'll just make these 2 hold action first, and then it's going to be Woolot. Woolot's turn. He is going to just take a 2-meter shift as a 1 impulse. Right, and then the first 3 BattleBots here are all going to use the combined fire ability, which means you need to make a dodge check. If you fail, you suffer a wound.
Roger that. No modifiers to it, I assume?
No, it's just your dodge, yeah.
Okay. That is
Oh,
an
that's good,
excellent.
yeah. Okay, so you take no damage. The remaining one is going to shoot at you, like a good little robot. And take your 2 lowest wound boxes, because you got a stellar.
Okay, so another graze, and then a light wound.
Alright, Woolot is going to do a 1 impulse action to open the door. And then he's going to take a move action.
What? Can he do that?
Yeah, he was on impulse 6. Now he's on impulse 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Got it.
And you can hear him shouting, "Get in there! Kill that bitch!" And it's your turn.
Don't forget, you do still have communications to us.
Yeah.
That
So we're on impulse 9, which is impulse 1 of the next round.
Yes, so he needs to make an endurance check. So -2 step. Oh, -3 step. So it's even worse than that. So he failed, so he takes a wound box.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a move action, which is 2. Yeah, we're gonna take the move action to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I don't see him.
Correct. It's a long hallway,
Yeah.
devoid of Woolot.
And I'm gonna add the dodge impulse to it.
Okay. You
So
want to
3 impulse.
keep? You still have like 10 more meters if you want.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. I have 20, not 10.
Yep.
So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I still don't see him.
Okay.
So yeah, dodge. Yeah.
God. But did anyone else like to join? I said. No, they all said.
I can't go out there without getting, sucked into space. Thank you.
I didn't get to ask. I did not have the opportunity to do that.
I also just had a moment where I was like, why is the light on my webcam on?
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. Do you want a glass of wine? I'm
I've
about
had
to
5 hours of sleep. I'm tired.
Okay, Jacob, you convinced me. I go to the airlock, I open it, and I die.
I didn't get to go.
Oh, Jesus.
Jagan's like, haha, I destroyed all of y'all's vac suits. Wow, nobody went into the vacuum of space to help Irene.
Well, to be fair, you're the only one with a vac suit that could go, but you also have the worst wounds remaining after surgery, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, and I wasn't here whenever Irene left the ship.
Well, technically, you were here just sleeping it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aw. Once per scene, he can return fire as a one impulse reaction. Probably should have done that before he got 3 wound steps. Idiot.
It's okay. Irene can use the hero point for a reaction if things get really dire.
Yep.
Which, given the amount of initiative rolls that Jacob just did, I think it's...
Yep.
Alright, he's just gonna pass. Alright.
I was pretty happy with how low they looked.
Well, I'm just putting them all on this new turn order, so they're all right here. Because it's a new round. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll say that's a 1 impulse. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. And that'll be good for that. Back to him. He's gonna take a move action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. So many battle bots. Alright, the next 3 battle bots are all going to do the thing, so give me a dodge check.
That's an excellent.
Okay, you take no damage. This battle bot right now is just gonna shoot at you. Take a wound.
taken.
Okay. Alright, this battle bot's gonna hold his action, trying to get on the same initiative as his buddy. They're trying to set up a combined fire thing here. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Alright. This one's just gonna shoot at you. You're gonna have 25% cover, so he only has a +1 step. That is, I think that's a hit. If it is, it's on the nose. Yep, so take your lowest wound box.
I now have a moderate wound. I would like to use my hero point
Okay.
to react.
Go for it.
As a one impulse reaction. I'm going to take the move action.
Okay.
Oh, I was dodging this whole time too, and they weren't taking their -2.
Oh, okay. Then don't take that last wound.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been a miss.
I just realized that.
Yeah, but the previous one that hit would have hit regardless of the bonuses. So, yeah, just heal that last wound.
Yeah, I'm still taking the reaction though, and using the move action to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And that it?
Can I peek my head out the door to look down that hall?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, we're gonna stop right there.
Okay.
You bastard. He saw me peeking, didn't he?
Yeah. Okay. I've decided something.
You're going to kill Irene?
Because these are all minions of the exact same type.
They're just all going to go at the same time?
Yep.
Makes sense.
And I'm just going to modify them to be on 6. Your turn.
One impulse action.
Oh, I just fucking drew on myself like a child.
I close the door.
Okay. So how I'll do it is I'll have them all take an action, and whichever one takes the highest impulse action, that'll be the one the group takes.
Roger.
Okay, he's gonna do a 1 impulse action. I fucked up. Alright, now all the battle bots' turn. I don't want you... Yeah, be down there. I don't want to see you. Okay.
No, I closed that door.
This one's gonna shoot at you. Take your lowest wound box. What do you know? That was a lot faster. Your turn.
Situational awareness. What is the function of the room that I'm currently in?
It's a communications room. These are holographic tables.
Okay. So he may or may not have gotten his message off, I'm not sure. Shit. I'm gonna call back to the ship and
Calling back to the ship is going to be a 3 impulse action.
yep. Call back to the ship and give them the heads up on what's going on and pray.
The interlocutor doesn't have that capability, Caddy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the 3 impulse to call back and dodge. So 4 impulse.
Okay. What do you want to say?
Yeah, so things went to shit here, and there's like a bajillion Roger bots trying to kill me. Help?
Matt Wood's ears tingle. Okay. He's going to take a 3 impulse action to do this. Alright, now the bots.
That fucker.
Yeah. So these 3 bots are all going to do a combined fire. Give me a dodge check.
And I have a -1 from wound penalties.
Take a wound.
Yep. Oh. Weird mechanics question on that.
What's up?
So, taking the dodge modifier lets you add your, or not necessarily add, but it subtracts from their attack. But because they did something that didn't cause an attack, but I was still using dodge, would there be any benefit to it?
I don't think so, but I'm going to double check.
Okay.
Because I know that enemies attacking you suffer a pound. Okay, yeah. If you took the total defense action, then you get a +2 to dodge. Actually, you get a +2 to all resists. +2 steps.
Okay.
Yeah. And I assume that the team knows you're still in. You haven't updated your position, so the last they would know was that you were in the command and control center for the drones.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, they're done.
He needs to make a radiation check.
Yes. He failed. Like that Imagine Dragon song. He's bleeding out.
Hey,
Just imagine that he's just gonna pass out off screen where we can't see him
Totally
dead.
music reference?
I did it!
Kiara would be so proud.
Unfortunately, it's Imagine Dragons, so,
Hey, baby steps. Baby steps.
So, I would want to say, like, if Irene messaged us, or rather contacted us, alerting us, like, hey, there's possible ships on the way, I would start preparing
the drones.
But I would probably hold a few back. I was going to send this as a message. I was like, it's really long. I'll just explain it when I get the chance.
Okay.
I'll probably hold a few back to go and assist Irene as soon as we had information on her location versus their location, such as if she was in one room and they were in another, and she was able to get most of them in another room. That way we could start blowing holes in the sides of things. So now I think I would have 3 drones. How many, or around how many do we have left? Because
Good
you
question.
said some were taken out in the combat with the Reapers.
Yeah. You still have 9 drones. 3 were
Okay.
3 were destroyed.
So then I would hold back 2 to use in defending Irene, and then the rest would be prepared to engage enemy combatants. So as soon as Irene gets a turn to tell us, like, you should fire on this location, that is what we will be doing.
With 2 drones?
2 drones.
2 drones, okay. Alright, the Enforcer's turn. I need to quickly make a rule check. I think he's just going to spend his turns trying to not die of radiation, but I don't know if you can do that. Because it's a passive resistance.
It's a passive resist, yeah.
I'm checking if you can actively resist a passive resist.
Okay.
So, passive resist. At the end of each round, if the check succeeds, you can't take the resist action to end the effect early. You can only check at the end of round. There we go. So I guess he'll die soon.
TM.
But if he takes the total defense action, he gains a +2 step bonus to any check you make to resist an attack. Oh. It's just to resist an attack. So I guess he'll die. Well, he's gonna put himself here as a move action. You know, while he's still drawing breath. Irene, you're up.
I'm gonna blast. Oh, which boy am I blasting?
Just check your wounds.
You just checked my wounds?
Yeah, they're starting to ramp
Yeah.
up, huh?
Yeah. I'm gonna blast this boy right in front of me. I am not aiming, but I am taking the dodge modifier. So my -1 wound penalty cancels out my +1 assault weapon step. So it's straight D20. That's a miss.
Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna modify an act on 9 if he survived. Because he's just gonna hold his action. So that way we know when the round it starts. Alright, BattleBots, give me a dodge check.
I old man brained for a second. Does the dodge bonus add to this?
No, only total defense does.
Okay, got it. So a -1 step.
That looks good.
That's an excellent.
Okay. The only ones that are moving are these 2, and then that's a 3 impulse. And I believe, yep, it's back to you. Irene, back to you.
Shit.
Tell me where to fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the 3 impulse to. So it'll be a 4 total because I'm going to
Dodge.
continue to dodge. To call in the location.
Dodge. Dive.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I don't know if it's an actual impulse or anything, but like I'm gonna click my heels together to activate mag boots.
Okay. That'll be yeah. We'll just call that a free action. Okay. Their turn. They're gonna take one more shot at you. Give me another dodge check.
That's a success.
Okay.
Let me just.
All right, end of round. It doesn't. Well, I mean, I guess he can still make it, right? He got a -6. So that's his last wound box. That isn't. He's dead. Or what? What a way to die. Rapid.
I warned him.
Rapid
warned him.
radiation sickness. Okay, and
We've got
And-
anti-rat on the ship if he calls back. The bots.
No. According to the description of the weapon, if they die from direct damage or the irradiate
irradiation.
effect, they disintegrate. He is now translocated.
Well, he's not translocated yet. He will be, unless he can get 3 successes with a -D8. Because I think that's how many it takes to get to resist radiation. Because it's just, fucking metal.
Yeah.
Woe be the day that you guys face somebody who irradiates y'all. Yeah, it takes 3
We've got anti-rat.
successes to get rid of radiation. Oh,
I am prepared for every eventuality.
Zeke is
They already
bought
tried to
anti-rad.
irradiate us with Razik.
Can I make a 2-meter shift while taking the total defense?
I don't think so. I think total defense is just total defense.
Okay, so this hollow table thingy here,
Yeah.
is it solid down to the floor?
Yeah.
Okay, I was hoping to
Yeah.
crawl under it and cry myself into death.
Right. Well, no, you can't take a 2-meter with total defense. You just do.
Well, right, no, I was going to dive under it
Right.
rather than total defense. I'm just going to go ahead and take the total defense at the moment.
Okay.
I don't see the combat order, but 2-meter shift is a 1 impulse action. If it still puts you ahead of the bots, you can do
the
that
bots
and then
are
total
immediately
defense.
after him.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So now make your dodge check with the +2 step. Before your wound penalties.
Right, so +1. That's a fail.
Okay, take a wound, and it's your turn again.
That's a serious wound.
You hear over your comms, Hypois saying the drones are on their way.
Quicker, please. Oh, does Irene go down curled into a fetal position crying, or does she go down fighting?
Is that even a question? Irene?
Yeah, she's gonna blast it.
Irene wears cargo pants in the year of our Lord. There's absolutely no way she crawls into a corner and weeps. She's indomitable.
You have me convinced. We're gonna blast this boy with a dodge action.
Blasting. Anyway, I started blasting.
Are you sure you want to dodge? Because they're just going to keep doing the combined fire.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good point. So no, I'm gonna aim. So it's a -2 for wound, +3 total on the attack. It's a total of +1.
That's an excellent.
That's an excellent.
Don't roll. They're minions. That's a dead bot.
I'm gonna roll anyway because I want to see.
It's a super dead bot. Is
roll.
that what you want? Is that what you want?
That's what I wanted.
Okay, this bot jumps down. Roll dodge.
No. That's a fail.
Okay, take a wound.
That's another serious wound.
And then it's back to you.
Oh, how do I... I'm going to take a move action.
Okay.
Maybe. There we go. 1. 2, 3. Oh god. 4, 5. Jump the table.
And get behind it like that.
And get behind it like that. And drop prone. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they can't see you because you dropped prone, so a lot of them are gonna move. You know what? I'm not gonna do all that because after this impulse is over, there's not gonna be a battle map. So let's see. -3 step. He needs to get a 25 with a -d8.
Okay.
He dies. Okay.
Okay.
And then Irene is on the floor. BattleBots are lining up their shots on her when suddenly the ceiling above the BattleBot she's looking up at explodes as a rain of high energy gunfire tears through the command and control center. Irene, give me a dodge check.
Are you kidding me? That's a success. That's
Average.
an average success.
Irene rolls underneath one of the computer terminals and plants her boots onto the ground and somehow manages to evade as the command and control center is just disintegrated. And at first, it's just loud booms and fire and dust. And then finally, it all settles, and Irene is surrounded by a cloud of dust. And then, slowly, the dust starts to peel away, and Irene realizes that she is on a chunk of space debris now. Your vac suit still has pressure, right? I think it punctures if you take a serious wound.
It was serious. Oh no, she has serious wounds.
Okay. You are depressurizing, Irene.
Okay, but I can hold my breath a long time.
No, we would definitely if we were blowing it to smithereens, we'd be driving up. We can drive now.
Okay, Hypost, give me a pilot check.
Trust Irene, Vegas. If this fails, I'm using my hero point. I just want you to feel comfortable and know that I love and trust Irene.
Okay, well, let me hang on before you roll. Let me describe how this is going to go down so there's no surprises. If you fail, which you obviously won't because you're going to spend a hero point, then you will scoop up a raisin Irene, who will be quite dead. If you stellar success, you'll scoop up Irene before it even matters. Excellent, she's going to take a wound box. Average, she's going to take a worse wound box.
Okay.
Is Razik aware of the new situation of Irene just floating into space right now?
Sure, yeah.
Razik would prepare in the airlock and would almost try to convince Wesh to possibly give him his vac suit. And ask Alisi for the collar as well.
Alicia will give you the collar.
Okay. So, Razik is suited up to receive Irene.
Yep. And if we fail, I know there's a hero point in control, but if we fail, Razik is ready to dive after Irene.
Okay. We're ready.
Cool. Okay. So that's literally one shy of an excellent. And I've got 2 hero points.
Do you want
making it an excellent?
Okay, you're making it an excellent?
Yeah.
Okay. With an excellent,
because I love Irene and she better start wearing her friendship bracelet. in public.
Take 1 wound of your lowest available.
Oh, so critical?
Oh no.
All right, and then yeah. So I suppose you scooped up Irene. Razik sounds off that you guys got her as he closes the ramp, and the cargo bay starts to pressurize, and then Razik, you want to do your thing.
Well, I'll ask Alicia to help me bring.
I was about to say I'd probably be right outside the airlock, ready to haul Irene into the infirmary.
Okay.
Yep, there we go. And then I'd do it in the infirmary to get all the bonuses.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you guys got time because like Irene isn't dying; she's just not doing well. Vegas, if you can move over to the involucre screen, so I can turn off navigation on the drone CNC because it doesn't exist anymore. Thank you.
Even though she's not dying, critical still means conscious, right?
Yeah.
She will be screaming that she is literally dying. Someone do something.
All right.
Yes, and if you stop slapping me away, I could do something.
All right. Let's tally up the wounds for surgery. I mean that's a lot. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wounds? Am I counting that up right? No, I'm not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wounds.
Because I was going to say maxed out IPOS was 9.
It's 9.
So
it's 9. I'm sorry. Brain, no worky.
Yeah,
Okay.
grazes still count, right?
No. It's 3 for the critical wound, 2
Okay.
for every serious wound, so that's 7, and 1 for every moderate wound. 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 9.
So you need 9 successes before you fail out.
I believe in surgery, my med pack doesn't do anything, but a room +1,
The room gives you
surgery,
+1.
specialization +1, technician +1, so we're at +3.
Okay. And every check is an hour of work. If you fail 3 times, we take whatever you got and
Yep.
19.
First hour, we are at stellar, so that's 3 down.
Okay.
That might be my first fail.
Okay, 1 fail. Hour 3.
Yep, so second hour, nothing. Irene, stop moving!
Literally dying. Okay, now you're up to 6.
Yep. And we're good.
And that's it. All right, after 4 hours of surgery. All right, so Vegas, first of all, clear your grazes.
Okay.
And then you clear all the wounds that were being treated under surgery, and you gain 1 wound of 1 less severe than your worst. So you keep 1 serious wound. Yeah, you still have the light wounds, but they'll go away at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, so all your lights and 1 serious left. That's it.
And that should be it. Yep. Good. Okay. So I have 4 hours of surgery. What is everyone doing during the 4 hours of surgery? That isn't the 2 people involved in the surgery.
What do I have to do to get rid of my serious wound for rehab?
1 more day, you have to make a resilience check.
Okay.
And I can help giving you successes.
Yeah, gives you step bonuses. Yep.
Yeah, to be honest, Lacey probably isn't doing much.
Pretty much going to be doing the same as far as like trying to get rid of my serious wounds. I will likely park the involucre somewhere kind of discreet. What? Yeah, you were gonna say?
You're gonna park the involucre kind of discreet. I just remembered 4 hours is actually plenty of time. 1 hour into the surgery, a ship jumps out of hyperspace.
And the drones?
And the drones descend on it. Now, this ship is an incredibly large, like a space train.
Yeah.
But it has very limited weaponry. So your drones descend on it, and before it can spin up its hyperdrive to get out of there, your drones destroy the hell out of it.
Cool. More salvage. I don't care anymore. Someone hurt Irene. Someone nearly killed Elise. Razik was left on his own, feeling desperate and sad. Whatever. Let's kill them all. They're all just trying to oppress the working class. They're all criminals who only aspire to be, like, capitalist giants, just like the Empire. They're just slightly smaller versions, and they all deserve to be eradicated. Everyone will be ruled under the peaceful hand of IPOS.
IPOS, are you drinking Irene's whiskey? Are you alright?
It's fine. Let's handle it. We can salvage the supplies. If anyone's left alive, they can learn how to be anarchists and be nice people. And if not, we can kill them. So it's fine. Is Irene okay? Finish the surgery.
Yes.
It's fine. I am handling this. It's fine.
As we all know, anarchists, historically nice people.
Yes.
Anarchists historically have a leader who's an extremely chill dude. So like, not to go the bed who was supposed to stay on you, but we're gonna have a committee and it's gonna be great. So it's fine. Finish the surgery. You do what you do. You are the shoemaker in this situation. Make the shoes. I am the shoemaker in the like killing people and getting things under control situation. So I'm gonna make those shoes.
Okay, I'm gonna say we're gonna elapse a day to let everybody like recollect themselves. One person's in surgery. So those of you.
Yeah.
Those of you being Hypolis and Elise, Razik, give me medicine checks for both of them for treatment. Plus one from your med pack. And then, based on the bonuses you guys get, you two need to make resilience checks to see if you clear your
So it's plus one med pack, plus one technician, plus one treatment, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm full on imagining Hypoest with like a light limp afterwards. And a hard gaze in the eyes.
I didn't
glow beautiful, but
I didn't declare who would be in like in the rehab first. I would assume probably Elise.
Sure.
Hypost.
Yeah.
Captain.
Well, how about this? In lieu of a designated target, we go in alphabetical order. So, Elise.
I would say Elise first because Hypoest is dealing with the like whole getting the ship grounded and stable and looking towards salvaging.
Okay, so I need to make a resilience check.
Yes.
And sadly, it's just an average for IPOS. So
you
plus
get
one
plus
to
one
IPOS,
step.
plus two to Elise.
Plus 2 for Elise, plus 1 for Hypolis.
Okay, so that
Yes.
zeroes out my -2.
Right.
What exactly is this roll again? Is it endurance or
It's resilience.
resilience? Okay. I get the two mixed up because they're very similar.
They're seemingly interchanged in the most random circumstances. It's like
I feel like endurance is when something happens, your ability to endure it, whereas resilience is your ability over a longer period of time. It's how I've been like defining it.
That's how they define it in the book, but sometimes they'll call for a resilience check to resist, and I'm like, aliens. So you have a plus 1 step, which I think washes out to a -1, because you still have to do your wound penalties for this.
Yeah, that's -1 because I have a -3 right now.
Oh, then it's -2.
Oh yeah. Well, let me roll a. Let's see. Instead of a D4, I need a D6.
Oh, that's right.
I mean,
You have a
either way,
critical wound.
either way, that's not going to pass because it's a 16 at least, and I rolled a 12 on the D20.
Okay.
So I'm not going to bother re-rolling. I can if you want.
No, it works for me.
Wow. New house means I did not realize the setting sun would shine right through this window. So let me just try to figure this out real fast.
Yeah.
It definitely puts you in a new light.
Right.
Aha!
I think
Get
mostly
out.
it just shows people how pale I am. I buy a like bone white highlight from the Halloween store. I am allergic to the sun.
It's that Northern European blood.
My favorite one is the picture of the Irish girl on the beach, and you see like it's a girl sitting up, and it's like, "Have you seen this girl?" And then the caption at the bottom is like, "Not that one." So you look closer to the picture, and you barely can see the Irish girl against the sand.
All right. So there is no threat. You guys are alone with several destroyed ships. Oh, and I will say that you are unable to give the drones new commands because you destroyed the control and command center. Which, even though you were controlling them from the Involucre bridge, they were still using the hardware from the command and control center, which are now gone. So fortunately, you were able to give your last commands before you destroyed the control center, which was to shoot the first ship that shows up. But that's it. Your drones are fully functional. The 9 of them, they're just floating there, unable to receive commands at this time.
Well, if they're following the last commands, there's 2 that are doing nothing and 6 that are just intercepting incoming ships. So once we leave, we don't come back, okay? We just don't. We leave it alone.
There is
we could send out an encrypted message to the Saldrosi Empire for the location of the ship.
But that would
Have
only
them
work
come
for
in.
as long as the drones are around. Once they shoot down all the drones, they'll just have the location of the ship.
You're muted.
Yeah, but we'll have salvaged the ship to high heavens before then, so they'll just be out near a black hole.
Actually, I'm okay with that in that case, yeah.
Yeah.
If we salvage it first, absolutely, let's do that.
Yeah, we won't send the message right away. That gives us like a time limit. No, thank you. I don't like deadlines. But
So there's still like 100 Reaper scavengers on the derelict.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah.
And all the battle bots that weren't destroyed in that barrage.
We can be pretty chill with the Reaper because we can just be like, oh no, what happened?
Give me an influence check.
Okay. Because I'm also thinking like we could sell, iron or whatever, like random materials to them that aren't necessarily weaponry to be like, oh, we tried. So an influence check, they're not Solis. At least their leaders aren't.
No, but you do have the win penalties.
I do have the win penalties. Okay, I'm gonna do bonuses and then take away penalties.
Okay?
Yes, hold up. Just because you're going to do something that's training, I'm going to give you an analgesic spray that's going to lower your win penalty by 1.
Okay.
Nice.
So you've lowered the wound penalty by 1, which means I'll only have a -2 after treatment. So I get a +1 from just being that good at influence. I get a +1 from them being non-Solis, and then a -2, so it evens out to a base roll. I need a 7, 12, 17.
Ooh, that was almost a stellar. But that is
It's
an
still
excellent.
excellent, though.
So you convinced the Reapers that you guys were always on their side and that you're now in charge.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now
Is there a way we could find out from the Reapers who are here if this was like all of the Reapers, or if any of their like key command was here, like anyone who's actually in charge?
Oh,
I mean, other than the friend we lost.
this wasn't the whole of the Reapers, that's for sure.
Hell no.
I was hoping we could take out a good chunk of them.
This was a very, very large operation.
How about instead of phrasing it as I am hoping that we could take it, we would like to know exactly the size and importance of a funerary gift we should send.
Keep in mind that the workers on the ship aren't Reapers, they're all contractors.
Yeah, and besides that, we as individuals value the contractors as greater than those larger forces in the bureaucracy who only ever put people's lives at risk.
Okay, now there's the question, you want to salvage stuff, but the Involucre is not a big ship.
I'm
There's
thinking
a bigger disabled Reaper ship, right?
Well, the time it took for the override to kick in, it got kind of shredded. So it's
the Reaper ships I assumed were pretty destroyed. What I want to do is in like by order of what is most valuable to us as far as like supplies could go first on any of the ships, not just this ship, but even the Reaper ship, or whenever the Thuj cartel sent in their reinforcements, those ships that we were able to damage and destroy. And then just like what material is most valuable in resale. and like descending until our cargo hold is full. Which I know we don't have a very large cargo hold because we're effectively a yacht, but that.
Okay. What about like weapons and drones and?
I mean, I just don't know where we'll put the drones. I guess we can fit them in the break room if everyone's willing to eat their food like sitting in the bridge.
One drone would fill up the whole lounge.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Well, I mean, the whole goal was to prevent other people from getting their hands on this stuff. So are you just gonna like take it off the ship and then give it a gentle push towards the black hole?
I mean, once we have taken what we want and or need, anything left over is going either into the black hole or in like being packed with explosives. I don't know, like being destroyed.
Right, scuttled.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys are gonna do that for several days.
Oh yeah.
But every faction involved with this, none of them are coming back at this time, so you're in the clear. So why don't we do
endurance checks?
Yeah, we're probably gonna do resilience checks because it's been another 3 days. How long does it take for critical wounds to get their heal on? Let me check. Critical wounds take 10 days to rest. Yeah, so everyone can make an attempt on their serious if they have it.
Hold up, I'm gonna roll. Okay, so who would
I think
come
everyone
to
has a serious.
Yeah, who would come to the med bay first? I believe Irene does not really like to be touched, so she probably would be last.
Are you continuing to give me analgesic spray?
Sorry?
Well, as far as without the analgesic spray, I have a -1 to these resilience checks. But with I have a base roll.
Given that we're going to be heavy working, I'm going to give an analgesic spray to everyone while I'm doing the rehab.
Yeah. Also, you have a -3. That was because of his bonuses. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's my influence that I only had the base, so I would have a -2 with the analgesic spray on.
Okay.
So let's do IPOS first.
Okay. 11.
Shit, that's still average. And an analgesic spray on IPOS.
So you're gonna have a total of let's do the whole thing one at a time. So hold back, music. IPOS, you have a total of a -1.
A total of a -1.
Resilience check.
Resilience. Oh, on resilience, I think that's still too low.
Okay. Next is
I needed 16.
Alicia?
Yeah. Wait! Before we do any of this, mind over body. In theory, if I get a cellar, I can just heal the wound, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't hurt for me to try it at least one of these days.
Actually, I'm gonna treat that like battlefield medicine. I know it's not expressly said, but I'm gonna put my GM foot down.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say no. Oh, hi, little girl.
So pretty.
Well, in that case, man, Razik, come on. He's exhausted from doing medicine. That's an average and an analgesic spray on Alicia.
So a total of flat 20 for Alicia.
Holy crap! I actually did it.
Okay, so you're gonna downgrade that to a light wound. So just get rid of it.
Good girl.
And then last but certainly not least, Irene.
Yep,
After probably fighting to get her in here. Wow, really? I need to look at these rolls, but yeah, that's still an average, so +1 and then an analgesic spray.
So raw
flat
20. Yeah, flat 20.
Yeah. Okay. That is a fail.
Okay. So Alicia is recovered, right? And everyone else is still on the mend? Yeah. Alright.
And Irene is seriously considering just replacing her entire body with... Like, she's just going to put her brain in a sim droid.
So, Jaken?
Yeah.
Razik is gonna ask Wesh if Wesh has any interest in going into onto the derelict or any of
Yes.
the Reaper ships.
He is probably spending these 3 days trying to get access to the files on the derelict.
Very well. Then he's gonna ask Wesh to either also take some time to scavenge the medical supplies on these ships and bring back what he finds, or if he would rather, once he's done with the data, Rizik's gonna borrow the suit and go scavenge the medical supplies on the ships. Either or.
Okay. Well, at the end of the 3 days, you guys are all, still recuperating and whatnot, but Wesh excitedly invites everyone to the lounge at the end of the day.
Less than excitedly show up.
Okay.
I'll show up. Lizzie has nothing else to do in the ship. She's essentially useless unless I need my side blades.
Rizik's gonna be curious when he shows up.
Okay. So you guys all come into the lounge, and he's fiddling with the hollow table, and he says, "Oh, you're all here. So, I have not slept in 48 hours. I have been trying to rebuild the sensor logs of the precept, and I've finally cobbled together visual data from right before it lost power.
Now I'm interested.
And now I have found something both extraordinary and, if I might say, a little terrifying. Let me get this damn table to work, and we can all witness. There.
Oh, you need to over here on the underside of it.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta hit it.
I just imagined Irene walking up to it, going, "Hang on," then kicking it somewhere. And like, there you go.
Just hit it from the other side.
All right. So, an opaque screen projects out of the table, and you guys are viewing basically visual, basically a video picked up by its sensors. So, what you're seeing is empty space, and then, from what just appeared like black space, an object starts approaching. And eventually it comes into view, and it appears to be a ship of a design that none of you have ever seen. It is kind of like a three-dimensional diamond, but the lower half is like squashed, and the tip is cut off, and instead of coming to a pyramid point, it's a bunch of like spires and antenna on top. And then there's rows of green lights along, the width of the whole thing. And this thing just shows up, and there's footage of it just slamming weapons into the precept. And once the video kind of like goes staticky and freezes, he hits a few more things on his computer, and he's like, "Look at the size of this thing." And then he pulls up basically like a graph, and it shows the size of the precept, and the size of the ship is about the same length, which makes it wider than the precept.
That's no moon.
Yeah, this thing is about 150% the size of the precept, which are the biggest, baddest ships in the Fire Expanse. And this thing's about half bigger.
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's a giant, dark, pyramid-shaped ship thingy, like an elongated pyramid thing. But
well,
instead
no,
of a point, it's got the spires.
I wish I were an artist.
Send me a full description later so I can try to draw it.
I mean, that's my description.
Write it out so I can refer to it, but I would like to try and create a visual for our Twitter.
Well, let me do my I am not talented rendition.
Love that. My favorite thing is when professors who were not art professors would try to draw.
Well, I'm not a professor.
You're the professor of Alternity now. I don't make the rules. That's what it is.
Oh shit! I already fucked up. This is supposed to be a point. Why did I do this in pen?
You play tabletop games. Why are you writing anything?
All I have is a pen.
God, what kind of DM?
Why don't you just ask one of your tiny slaves that lives with you to bring you a pencil?
You think they serve me?
Yeah, they do absolutely nothing for
Shaken.
except prevent.
Shaken.
What?
Shaken. Here's a
What,
pencil.
what? Oh, it's a little late for that.
I always have pencils. I use them when I design my coasters.
He's committed
Olivia
now.
always has pencils because she's a decent TTRPG player.
I actually have a specific pencil when we do actual tabletops that no one's allowed to touch. I'm like, my pencil. No one touch.
Well, my pencil's on my other computer desk.
Buy the like special
Oh, Jesus.
rates of pencils. Oh, okay, no, that makes sense. All right, I get that. I bet I can make that look cool.
I bet you could.
And
I also
just to
have just put in
recap,
Sharpies and a highlighter.
Okay.
it was unmarked, and we have no idea whose it is.
So we just see that kind of ship. The silhouette doesn't remind us of anything in particular. It doesn't remind us of a certain association or, oppressor or empire. It just is.
No,
It doesn't even
exactly.
strike us as Empyrean.
No, it doesn't look Empyrean, but
Oh
yeah,
no! Oh no!
it looks like a new player.
At least Empyrean is something.
Do I have another notepad that I can draw? You asked for a marking, and there is a mark.
So there is a mark, but it's just not
We don't recognize
one
it.
we recognize.
An identifiable mark.
I'm gonna write this lower so I can fill in notes between it.
So kind of a U, 3 dots, a diamond, and an X underneath.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like it's been drawn by a child.
So
Yes.
the ship. Can you send the picture of that to me later?
Sure.
So the ship itself, this image, this artifact that we have found, is a depiction of the ship, the exploratory ship, which is already quite large.
Yeah.
The exalting exploratory ship alongside or in front of or near for scale, like a banana, a kind of like this D4 shape.
Mm-hmm.
With,
Well, D8 actually.
Oh, okay. With a D8.
See, I have dice on my desk. I just don't have pencils.
Spires upon the top, which convey some sort of like societal living.
Yeah.
And the huge Exalvi exploratory vessel is dwarfed in comparison to this larger, almost citadel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start calling it the Citadel. I've decided.
Okay.
I mean, it's just an easier word than like the D8 thing with the spires.
We do know from the read I got on it was one of the drones, right? That someone tried to use the drone as an escape pod.
Yeah.
So this thing possibly attacked them or boarded them.
No, I mean, the
was-
footage shows it attacking the control
it
carrier.
attacked.
Yeah, okay. So it was definitely, a hostile threat. And the fact that people were so desperate that they were like, I will crawl inside of a drone and try to escape, tells us exactly the amount of terror that individuals were feeling upon this ship, like crew members were feeling. But I am intrigued by the presence of such a large vessel because we've never seen it before. And how can a huge vessel like that exist without us having any idea what it is? And then it also has a symbol on it. No, that's
It
good.
also makes us wonder what happened to it afterwards. Where did it go?
It disappeared, and then is it traveling through black holes? That would be crazy, but it could possibly be happening. Or it could just be possibly traveling in the like gaps of what we survey, which is why we need the files of this exploratory vessel, like where it's traveled and why and how and what it encountered. So this is worrisome, but will make a very cool painting.
While you're saying all this, Wesh is just like chugging coffee and he's like, it's the find of my life.
It is! Oh! I wish HyperWest as a character was more interested in this, because I am interested in this.
Wesh,
I'm having a
you're
great time.
welcome.
Wesh,
Yeah, what's up?
I would assume you would have said something if that was the case, but just out of curiosity, in the research facilities that you work with, never has anything like this been described, or even like rumors, legends, myths?
Well, he starts rattling his fingers on the coffee mug. This footage is 50 years old, so my planet Nikipi wasn't even space yet. Well, we were, but only in our immediate solar system.
By the way, Alici's brewing him more coffee, but I'm making decaf.
Okay.
Wes is not happy.
That's a sin! That's a sin!
So whatever the ship is, it was in the gaps, presumably, 50 years ago. And it had the firepower to not just defeat a circa 50 years ago command and control carrier, or a control carrier, but rinse it, took it to the cleaners.
To the point where the people evacuated in a hurry.
Do we know for a fact that it was attacked here near the black hole? Because didn't the Sphere Mandate lose sight of the ship at some other point?
I don't know when the Sphere Mandate lost communications, but from the telemetry data, it looks like they were mapping this black hole when they were attacked, which has implications. Yeah, so this giant fuck off ship blew the hell out of the Sphere Mandate. Hasn't been seen before nor since. It's just a giant mystery ship. Oh, what if it's Kilvalmy? Oh, that would be awful. I have to write a big report.
Why would it be awful if it was the race you said, or the faction you said?
You don't know our history? The Kilvalmy swarm. They're an insectoid race from another galaxy. Beat the shit out of the entire galaxy 1,000 years ago. The regression
You see,
wars.
I'm not very good at history. Like, I studied science, but...
Well, 1,000 years ago was the end of the regression wars, which were fought between the Terran Empire, or as we call it, Imperia now, and the insurrection, and the Kilvalmy swarm. The stories go, now no one knows how accurate these are, that the insurrection stole technology from the Kilvalmy by traveling to their galaxy. Came back to our galaxy to fight the Terran Empire, and then the Kilvalmy used the technology they used to hop galaxies to get to our galaxy and start putting the hurt on everybody. They're like the space boogeyman. An insectoid race that views any non-insectoid life as undesirable.
Well, that would indeed be bad. Does the ship design match their style?
Well, I've never seen a Kilvalmy ship. I don't know anyone who's ever seen a Kilvalmy ship. If I had seen a Kilvalmy ship, I doubt I'd be here to tell you about it.
Okay,
Are
so
there
that's
any
bad.
places that might have recollections or history of it, like any planets?
I think the only planet in the Fire Expanse that may have records that date that far back would be, and he looks pointedly at Irene, New Eden.
I sure as shit don't recognize it. And my entire job was designing weapons for ships. So
So there you have it.
I had full access to our entire fleet's design database.
Hey, Caddy. What you doing?
I'm rocking in my chair. I was waiting for us to hit break because I need to take a break.
Then that's our cue. Let's go to break. We'll be back at 15 after. And we got another hour, 45 minutes of Dire Roll Lost Horizon. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you in a bit. All right, everybody, we are back. We had a strangely eventful break. Well, here we are. Oh, and in like 5 seconds, Caddy rendered just with a pen something infinitely superior to my own chicken scratch.
Speaking of chicken, no, we're not.
It's
going
full
back to
circle.
that.
She's gonna lose that mouthful. She's gonna lose it. She's gonna lose it. Oh, I'm glad we came back from break. We've lost the plot. For those of you who aren't watching or just listening, there's just muted laughter. That's what's going on right now. Just muted laughter across the board.
I would unmute, but the sounds I'm making are not meant for human ears. Yeah, a lot has happened in 19 minutes.
Yep. We're all changed people. All right.
And we're here, and we're present, and we're available, and we're going to create a beautiful story.
Okay. Well, personally, I think we can just kind of gloss over the rest of this derelict stuff. I don't have anything interesting other than the revelation of that weird ship. So if you guys, want to just move on.
Salvage.
Let's go ahead and do one more medicine check, and we can include any critical wounds you guys got.
So again on all three.
Yep.
So IPOS first.
I'm healed, so not me.
Oh, okay. Cool. So 2.
Yay! That's a +2.
Which wound for Hypos? Because he has a serious and a critical.
I would say that would be for the critical. I'd go higher to lower.
Okay.
So do I roll it again for serious?
No, let's go ahead and see if Hypos gets rid of that critical.
So your 16 granted me a +2.
2. And then if you use another dose of analgesic spray, that'll be no penalty, just a flat 20.
Penalty.
If you use it.
Are you letting me get a dab of that good stuff? Okay.
You want a hero point to get rid of it?
I already used it. I have 1 left.
Okay, so no. Alright, next is the serious wound.
+3.
Jesus. I'm going to go on a limb and say that's a +3 step. Yeah?
Yep.
And if she's still under the effect of the analgesic spray,
yep.
You are going to, in fact, get a +1 step to get rid of that serious wound. Whenever you're ready.
Hypoest.
It's still you, IPOS.
Plus
+1
one
on
step.
resilience.
+1 because of the 25 is +3.
Yeah.
And the analgesic spray. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, there's stuff going on with the cat. Nope.
You gotta roll higher than 9.
I need like a 16 on these rolls. It's not good for me.
And then Irene.
Irene has a serious, so just
+3, and I think we don't need an analgesic spray on that one, unless Irene wants one.
Okay, yeah, I guess it's your supplies.
Yeah, you're muted, but you said no with your head, so I think we're
correct. So it's a grand total of +1.
Yep.
Okay. Need to move to the right. There we go. That's a fail.
Okay. So I'm gonna say you guys spent a total of 2 weeks on this adventure. That's relevant for Elise. Elise, have you been keep tracking when the last time you did corruption stuff?
Yeah, it reset last session.
Oh, so it's been about 10 days. So you got another 20 days before you can make a check on that.
I've got a temp corruption. And that occurred
A while ago.
Yeah.
Yes, new guy with your finger.
During the salvage operations, would either me or Wesh, depending on who did it, found any medical supplies on any of the ship that to reinforce our own?
Well, any medical supplies that were salvaged in the wreck were probably used up when the Douche Cartel came in guns blazing.
That's perfectly fine with me.
So you don't find any, yeah.
Okay.
Salvage-wise,
On the cusp of a sneeze.
I know Hypoist was mentioning. Bless you.
I muted myself on OBS, but sorry, you guys had to hear me.
Oh.
I had to choose one.
Yeah.
There can only be only one.
Priority was any resupplies that we needed immediately.
Supplies and then
saleable materials. Yeah. So I think top of our we need is fuel.
Oh, I'm sure you guys topped off, yeah.
Okay. And then, I mean, were there any salvageable weapons?
Probably.
We just kind of hand wave that for now and take a look at it later?
Oh, you mean like hand weapons? I'm talking about big honking space guns.
I'm talking about all weapons.
Well, you guys got the weapons from the Saldrosi commandos.
Right. We wrote that down somewhere. I don't remember where, but...
I have them.
And you guys can grab a whole bunch more assault lasers if you want, because that's what the BattleBots used.
Yes. All of those.
And Wolot had a pair of flechette pistols.
Yep, both of those.
Other than that, probably not.
Okay.
As for big honkin' space lasers, yeah, you probably found a few that maybe weren't operational, but you could, with your expertise and, knowledge of sphere mandate engineering, get them operational and with relative ease.
Okay.
Now, control carriers do not specialize in capital ship engagement, so most of these big honkin' space lasers are anti-fighter.
Okay.
I mean, they're still...
We don't have those.
Right, they're still big honkin' space lasers. Right. They use like quad laser arrays that are almost the size of the Involucre in themselves. To just kind of shoot laser fire into the space to try to take down fighters. Basically like, laser flak.
I'm happy with that aspect of salvage. If anyone else has, we covered weapons, fuel, medical supplies. What else are we looking for?
Yeah, like one of these defense turrets would fill up your cargo bay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I doubt it would have any salvageable food or anything, right?
And if it did, which probably wouldn't, there's 100 people on board who would probably...
Yeah, who kind of need
hand to mouth that as soon as they found it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in that case, we probably wouldn't take one of the quad laser arrays. Rather than salvaging it, I would salvage the specs of them.
Sure.
Well, if we need to fill out our cargo space, I'm just a doctor, but is there any fancy materials that we could salvage off the electronics and whatnot?
Strip all the copper piping, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In fact, you guys can probably spend the time and the supplies, like, fully repairing the Involucre. Like, it's good to go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, please.
That being said,
We were also going to get all the records from it, right?
That's why I moved you
Yeah.
to this map.
Yep.
I'll go ahead and put this on stream. Chipoopy. So this is where you guys are. Black hole YPSZ0397-9. And the reason why the prefect was there was it was in the process of charting a route from the Semita system to the Paris system, which is a currently uncharted route. Obviously, it only made it halfway. But from YPSZ0397-9, you now have a hyperspace route to Semita.
Excellent.
Which is roughly, 1.85 parsecs away. Which would be about a third of your fuel. You have enough hyperspace juice in your tank for 6 parsecs.
Liquid Schwartz.
Yes, liquid Schwartz. And those I don't know if you guys have those on, but those system tags are just for the ones that I have detailed notes on, but obviously I have undetailed notes for everything. I need to add one for here because that's Nikipi. That's where Nikipi is, yeah. The
that
Nachi
route
system
could also potentially be saleable.
I keep accidentally pinging things while I'm measuring parsec distances, so don't mind me.
Okay.
But you said it was from the YPSC
to Semita.
Semita.
Here.
Oh, I didn't mean to do it.
Oh, it's just right there.
Actually, that's kind of useful. Yeah.
That is a radius of 1.9 parsecs.
Do you need me to get rid of that?
So
yes,
we
please.
we salvage what we need, but also we send the rest into a black hole to never be retrieved again. That's an important detail.
Yeah. And everything that the Nikipi science team would have wanted, Wesh got. So you're going to be on good terms with the Nikipi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Can we salvage Doc?
What are we going to do with these remaining 100 or so Reapers?
Well, you can tell someone they're there, and they'll get picked up. These 100 or so are contractors, recall. They were hired by the Reapers, but they have no allegiance to the Reapers. They were just hoping to get paid. So you can tell the Reapers are there, or you can tell the Nikipi they're there. Obviously, the Involucre does not. It would take you a long time to use the Involucre to transport 100 people.
If we tell the Reapers, there is a chance that these people will actually get paid. But there's also a chance that they'll get executed for knowing what the Reapers were trying to keep secret.
And also failing the task because they won't be coming back with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Basically, they only get to keep whatever they can put in a backpack and stuff in their pockets. The rest you're shoving into back into the black hole.
Yeah. If we tell, if we leave it to the Nikipi to mount a rescue operation, they'll survive, but they definitely won't get paid.
Well, I mean, it will be their choice to go back to Reapers and try to get their pay. So it will be on their onus if they get paid or executed.
Yeah, hell yeah. Put it up to them. Let them decide.
So
who
tell the Nikipi that they're there, and then they can go to the Reapers if they want, once the Nikipi rescue them.
Yeah.
Cool. Done.
Yeah, I like that. Any objections?
Nope.
No. Good.
Oh, nope, that's the wrong stream.
Sold for the lady with the scary gun.
Where do you guys want to go now?
Thuge homeworld.
The Thuge homeworld isn't on this map.
We're gonna nuke it from orbit.
I believe the Thuge homeworld
You
is
can't just start away
Shalthu,
from that side.
and it's not even in this part. It's not even in this sector.
Absolutely.
And let's be fair, not all Thuge are bad. I like that bartender.
The Thuge cartel is its own kind of operating thing that's outside of the Thuge homeworld. And just because they call themselves the Thuge cartel doesn't mean all of the Thuge are evil.
Actually,
However,
the Thuge cartel does control the Thuge homeworld, but again,
but it doesn't mean everyone on the
Semantics.
Thuge homeworld is evil.
No,
Exactly.
all Thuge,
Everyone on the Thuge homeworld deserves to die.
all Thuge are bastards.
that's where we're going.
Or
Honestly, if you're going to draw that parallel, you could say all Seldrosi. Like, that makes way more sense.
I agree with that as well.
We're not going to destroy the Thuge homeworld, mainly because it is outside of the map that Jacob has drawn for us.
It's a big.
Fine, we'll find their base of operations within the mapped area and eradicate that.
Isn't that in the Maz system?
You guys don't know, but you assume it's in wild. It's in the wild cluster, which is the orange for refresh.
Okay, do we have... Before we start taking on a new quest of destroying an entire cartel by our very capable 4 sets of hands, do we have any loops that we haven't closed yet? Aside from, like, all our personal stuff, which we're kind of trying to close by staying away from everybody and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have unclosed loops.
So, which one could we tackle next?
Well, primary unclosed loop at the moment, at least to Irene's estimation, would be the Saldron, the Saldrosi Empire, making covert inroads into the Wild Cluster via espionage and surgically altered agents. They have... You're muted.
You're muted.
No, I'm not using push to talk, but it's
Okay.
surgically altered.
That's what I said. We already know that they have, at the very least, these agents have infiltrated the Reaper Syndicate. They have already infiltrated the some of the freedom fighters in the Maz system. Or no.
It was just a mercenary group.
Mercenary unit, yeah. So not necessarily the freedom fighters.
And then that's when Hypoist pulls his face off to reveal a Saldron. Caddy was like, no!
Very
Even the player didn't
handsome
know.
and alluring and handsome and gorgeous and handsome Saldron.
Yes, of course.
No, I as a Saldron would be absolutely disgusted by the face of the Sealies first. No, I'm not a Saldron. How dare you?
But the point I'm getting at, though, is that the Saldrosi Empire is making inroads into the Wild Cluster beyond what we have seen the Sphere Mandate doing. So the Wild Cluster is in danger of being infiltrated and possibly taken over by the Saldrosi Empire. And I don't know if anyone knows that but us at the moment.
Yeah, the Saldrosi Empire does seem very, like, proactive genocide as opposed to, like, sphere mandates like, we'll slowly take over your local government kind of thing. Obviously, one requires a more active reaction than the other.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
well,
sphere mandate is more like the two astronauts, and one goes, "Wait, we're part of the sphere mandate now? Always have been."
Okay, so
the only one
regarding
I know
that-
about the
go ahead.
Seldrosi, do they often use covert tactics like that, or are they usually just upfront punch kind of people?
Well, your personal experience was they just showed up with a fleet of warships and fucked your planet up. So your personal experience, you don't have any experience with covert Saldran or other species in the Seldrosi Empire.
So it's new to me.
It's new to you, yeah. And obviously, Irene, even though she was a person who made weapons, she wasn't privy to, intelligence reports of that level, so...
And
Right.
me, I don't suppose that before I got on bad terms with them, that there was anything special that I heard.
Your
They
only
were just-
interaction with the Seldrosi Empire was, like, dignitaries and diplomats, so they were obviously not wearing skin suits.
Okay. So, so back to the loop that we could potentially close. Now the problem is that the wild cluster, as far as I remember, Jacob describing them, don't really have a central government.
No.
So we can't really go to any specific group and be like, "Hey, they're infiltrating you with the skin suits."
I didn't mean for that to become the term.
Oh, it's the term now. It's the term.
The fact that the wild cluster doesn't have a centralized government might be saving the wild cluster from Seldrosi influence, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very
Or-
fact that there's not one government for the Seldrosi to infiltrate.
Yeah, or at the very least, delaying it.
I mean, we could go to the ones that we know are infiltrated and warn them, like the groups who are organized enough, and maybe they'll slow it down even further. But I don't think there's much more we could do than that.
I mean, we've got a pretty good hunch of what's going on, but I don't necessarily think that we have anything close to solid evidence that we could take to a governmental official and say, "Hey, this is happening," without them saying, "Prove it."
Yeah,
So,
like, "Hey, they're infiltrating your government with skin suits.
Yeah.
Get out."
Yeah, investigation is probably, like, gathering more intel, gathering more evidence is probably our best course for tugging on that thread at the moment.
I don't know necessarily that that's the best course of action. Only because what do we care if if a local government is being, or rather a larger enforcing government is being infiltrated? Ultimately, they're still oppressing the people on their planet. Like, ultimately, they're still doing the exact same thing as the Seldrosi Empire is doing. And ultimately, we should be eradicating all of them. So I don't know necessarily that I'm that worried about the Seldrosi Empire. Like, as much as the Seldrosi Empire is gaining reconnaissance on us in those locations, like, I don't think there's much of a difference between Seldrin kind of infiltrating their government and them having a government already and not liking us for being anti-establishment or whatever.
Well, I mean, looking at it on that side of the coin, then, at the very least, they're causing friction within the local government that we could then be taking advantage of to take down from the inside by using that chaos and preventing both the existing government and the Seldrosi Empire from controlling anything.
Yeah, like, not to be soft science's technobabble on it, but there is the issue of, like, telling them, like, hey, we found the Saldran who was using a disguise to make themselves appear as,
We're calling them skin suits.
Such and such and such. They were using skin suits. They might not recognize lingo. It's fine. They were using skin suits to disguise themselves as peoples of other beings and influence the politics. You should keep an eye on your fellow politicians, and then, like, leaving it up to them to determine what that is and kind of create some internal chaos for us to use that as fuel for our own revolutionary agenda. That's great. But whether or not, like, I wouldn't necessarily be all up in the business of being like, hey, I'm trying to defend you because you're a small local government. Like, no, destroy them all.
Yeah. Okay, but that would be long term, because we obviously can't do that in a few days or a few weeks or a few months. So short-term goal, we need to continue shoring up our resources to be able to enact this long-term plan. So short-term, how about we just made good relationship with the Nikipi research group. We could seek to see if they have any other tasks or missions that they would need doing. It's a research station. I don't expect them to tell us to go kill stuff or whatever. So it should be pretty much up our alley, and it would help everyone because it's research.
I'm pro working on research for now. As far as like, I am still trying to fully recover from my injuries, and
I would also like to look into more about the hyper winds and the psychic connection they have, because that is fascinating.
yes, and that particular area of study is something we are capable of excelling at in a way that the Nikipi research station might not be able to do it on its own.
And the free exchange of information is the only valuable currency that we care about. We're going to the Nikipi.
Okay.
But what route are we taking to the Nikipi research station?
Probably the same way we got here.
There's a research station like near the black hole. If you just want to start there.
Oh yeah, that.
I mean, we can start there, but I meant like if we wanted to go back to the one that was at what is it called?
Calamities.
Was it the
I
one?
thought we had a safe route though.
The one here.
Well, I think that your initial contact was at Calamities, right? That system, Nache, that is their system. That's where Nikipi is. So I mean, you can just go straight to Nikipi.
That's where we came from to get to this current black hole.
Right.
And then on top of that, I just pinging up in my memory, I also kind of want to know what the hell that lead researcher knew about out here that she was so hesitant to share. Because now we know some of the secrets of this location. We can go back and be like, did you know about the Citadel ship? Is that what you knew? You know, go break some faces, get some free exchange of information via the threat of violence.
Or the psychic.
I mean, two-pronged assault always works.
So you guys want to go to Nikipi?
Yar.
Okay. Excuse me. You guys travel to Nikipi. I hope I put that in your minor contacts. You guys want to set up a meeting with Fres Wilk, the administrator with the Nikipi Extraplanetary Science Commission, the one who gave you this green light. All right. You guys are brought into. You come into Fres Wilk's office, and she's reading a report. She's reading Wesh's report. She's like, "Well, I must say, when you walked through my door those two weeks ago, I had no idea the success and the wild antics you would get up to. If I had known how dangerous the situation was, I don't know. I'm very pleased to see you all alive. It is regrettable that we lost the sim droid Doc, but that was his job."
That was his job?
Well, yeah, I mean that's why we allow researchers to deploy sim droids.
Hypo has to talk to it so I don't punch it.
Yeah, Hypoes would put like a reassuring hand on Irene's shoulder and say, we were very touched at the loss of Doc, the sim droid, as we felt he was representative of a member of the team that was essential to the success of this mission. It would be unwise for us to understate his importance to the whole of the crew.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend.
No, I understand exactly where you came from as far as the practical research purpose, but we did. There was an appreciation and an understanding that Doc's presence was what kept us alive, and so as you can believe, there is an attachment there. I'm surprised though that you. It had seemed whenever we brought up this particular mission that you had a reaction to us and to the mission as a whole that conveyed an understanding that it could possibly be a dangerous one. So I'm a little bit surprised now that you would say that you weren't aware. I had just kind of assumed it was par for the course for this particular mission.
Well, I'm not sure what I can say. I was aware it was a dangerous situation with the Reapers and all that, and we had our assumptions that another party was involved with getting the ship out of the the time dilation of the black hole, which, according to Wesh's report, was the Saldrosi Empire, which is not great. What else are you referring to?
Well, you covered the Reaper Syndicate and the Saldrosi influence. Did we cover Thush Cartel? We covered Thush Cartel.
That's in the
right?
report. Yeah, we didn't know about them.
And then there was the research that we picked up from the files contained in the Exolvi exploratory vessel, which showed the presence of a vessel much, much larger than the exploratory one, which...
Fuck off Citadel class ship?
Citadel kind of ship, which... And we also found evidence in our research of the drones that suggested that some crew members of the Exolvi exploratory vessel might have attempted to use some of the drones as an escape vessel, such as try and make a sort of cramped, person-sized hole in the drone for them to crawl into and escape through, which implies a level of desperation which would be absolutely unheard of, except for in the face of a Citadel class vessel, which we had perceived on the hologram table in the communications bay.
Exolvi don't run from fights.
I mean, they don't tend to need to, especially not in the size of vessel we just explored and scavenged. So there is that. We, oddly enough, aren't necessarily asking you about that, though. We are here to ask if you would like us to continue our research into the psychic... How did you phrase it, Irene? Psychic connection to the hyper winds through something space mines. Was it space mines?
Close enough. It's all in the report.
Was it the cosmic mind?
It was the cosmic mind. Yes.
Cosmic mind. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I'm. As you can tell, I am not as caught up on this techno babble, but the cosmic mind is something we thought we could coin in reference to the psychic's ability, namely Elise, the psychic's ability to communicate and seek out hyperwinds, spatial currents, which would allow for interstellar travel outside of the pre-mapped links.
Wow. Well, first of all, make an empathy check.
So it's just a +1 because empathy is separate from influence.
21 looks good.
Yeah, 21 is actually one short of stellar, but it's still very good. It's an excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Through the course of that, you were picking up on maybe like a sheen to her scales that made it seem like she was possibly perspiring a bit. A swallowed lump when you were talking about the so-called Citadel class ship. She obviously knew something about that. And she also looks like she is not someone who's good at keeping the lid on things if you wanted to press her.
Can I punch her now?
Ma'am, we weren't going to. Pardon me. Please, no. If my friends could step back a moment, madam. We weren't going to push on the whole Citadel thing because it seemed like it was putting you at an emotionally vulnerable place, and we didn't want to pressure you into divulging those things which may be deeply seated in the confines of thine heart. But clearly it seems to be distressing you. And I don't mean to call you out or make you feel uncomfortable, but you're showing signs of distress. And if I could, as a, if I may say, new friend, ease the burden of this knowledge, it just seems like you are so, and obviously our particular research is devoted to the hyperwinds and cosmic mind association. But if you wanted to let us in on, or let me in on the particulars of this stress to you, I assure you it would not be done in vain.
Make an influence check with a +1 step. A 10 is
Yeah, we're good.
it's an average.
It felt so low, but it's definitely an average. Yeah.
She's like, okay, well, we were not 100% sure that we would find record of this ship, but we, she starts like fixing things on her desk. We've seen that ship before. In fact, it's the reason why we built that research station around YPSZ-0397-9. Let me show you. She starts going through her file browser, and a new opaque display appears for you guys. And you see some really grainy images. And you can see that kind of that golden rimmed black hole. And just in the light of the black hole, you can see that sort of strange diamond shape. This was taken 15 years ago.
So it's still around.
Near that black hole? That same black hole?
Yes, we were trying to find a way to identify it or track it. We built the research station there, and we realized it was no longer there at that black hole, and it hasn't been since we built the research station. But in our efforts to learn more about it, we discovered the precept.
In the graining image, the precept isn't visible.
No.
But the precept went missing, what, 50 years ago?
Mm-hmm. We have been able to detect. It's actually kind of funny. We spent a lot of money on this research station, and we discovered this by accident. But there's a correlation between black holes in hyperspace. And we believe that this, as you call it, Citadel ship, has tapped into that phenomenon and can traverse in the direction of a black hole at far greater speeds in hyperspace than even our fastest ships. Which is given our scientists the leading theory that this, again, using your words, Citadel ship, uses black holes to traverse the galaxy.
That's actually literally impossible.
Yeah, what kind of ship could survive crossing the event horizon of a black hole?
It doesn't cross the event horizon of the black hole. It uses the fluctuating hyperspace around a black hole as a sort of lure.
So it's taking the headwinds, if you will, around the black hole and slingshotting itself across space using that?
Well, that's the theory. We have never encountered this ship in the flesh, so to speak, and so we can't confirm it, but that's what our lead scientists have come up with. You see, black holes in our reality have an incredible gravitational pull which suck things into the center of the black hole and no one knows where it goes. In hyperspace, it has a similar effect. Hyperspace is obviously a different sort of dimension, and everything's incredibly fast, and it gets faster around black holes. And the theory is that this Citadel ship has found a way to tap into that speed to basically fly as close to a black hole as it can, and it uses black holes perhaps for navigation or perhaps, as you mentioned, to, if in effect, slingshot itself at greater speeds.
So is this the speed of velocity or speed of relativity?
Oh, that's not my area of expertise. Regardless, that's the second known time in the last 50 years that a ship of that design was seen at that specific black hole. So perhaps in 20 years, we'll see if it makes a regular appearance every 35 years.
Do you have any idea who the ship belongs to?
No, in fact, the telemetry from the Precept's sensors is the closest look we've gotten at the ship, and it seems quite dangerous. And I'm kind of glad we haven't run into it ever.
Do the station here has any data on how other species have built their ship?
Oh,
Especially the Kelvami swarm?
her heart skips a beat, and she's like, no, we don't have any information on them. Do you think it's the Kilvami? That would explain their firepower.
Would we be able to, show her just a sketch of the symbolism that we had seen on the ship?
Sure.
Or rather, would it be visible to her on the image that we salvaged from the ship?
She looks at it and she says, sorry, that doesn't mean much to me. The prevailing theory on the Kippy, and it's one that I personally adhere to, is that the Kilvalmi, being a psionic species, were all wiped out when the psionic wave struck the galaxy.
But could they hypothetically be disappearing and reappearing at black holes and thus unaffected by the psionic wave?
Oh my.
Jagan, I have a psychic lore. In theory, could I just attempt to meditate and see what my brain comes up with? Can I mind palace it, see if I find anything with that symbol?
Why don't you, give me what is psychic lore attached to? Culture?
Academics.
Academics? Okay, that makes sense, actually. Give me an academics psychic lore for that. And this is about the symbol or just about the Kilvalmi? Which one?
The symbol.
Okay.
while she does that, Razik's gonna say, "Well, okay. Well, you see, from a purely logical and rational side of things, if the Citadel ship was Saldrosi from the Saldrosi Empire, they would potentially flash it as a weapon of their own to put the Sphere Mandate back in their place, and vice versa. If it was a Sphere Mandate ship, they would most likely flash that weapon at some point during the war to say to the Saldrosi Empire, hey, we've got the bigger guns. We can eliminate thus, most likely, that it's neither of these empires. Now, those two big empires are taking over the smaller groups in these parts, one planet at a time, one system at a time. If any of these smaller empires or factions had managed to build such a weapon, they would most likely be using it against those big empires or those big factions to stop them from taking over at least their part of the universe.
Yeah, we would have heard about it.
So by using purely logic and rational thoughts, it needs to be a faction that is outside of all these wars and outside of all these takeovers, which again leaves mostly the Swarm as the potential suspect here. Unless it's an entirely new faction that we've never heard about. That's also a possibility.
Well, those are sound theories, but that's not really my area of expertise, unfortunately. I could put you in touch with some of our scientists who could probably talk about this for days or years.
I feel that our focus should be on the psychic connection to the cosmic energy. The psychic connection to cosmic waves and the hyper winds might even lead us more answers in this regard. Obviously, I'm not an expert on this. I can't personally feel what is happening. But if there were going to be a hyper psychic species which was hiding in the gaps, or not in the gaps as we would know them, but is hiding in the void between black holes during the time of the psychic wave, then we're only going to gain more information by continuing to study that link between the cosmic wave and the hyper winds.
I am going to go ahead and give Elise some information for free. I know.
I was just realizing that I probably should use psychic history back at the black hole because it's a location, and I might have gotten more info on the ship, but okay.
Okay. This isn't like confirmation or anything, but I'm going to tell you that your Starkeepers believed that the Kilvami were still alive because the Oshnin and the Fliz are still alive, and they are both innately psionic species, and they weren't wiped out. So, by that logic, the Starkeepers believe that Kilvami ships are still out there.
Okay, so that could have been like, they may still be out there.
But that's not like a scientific theory. That's just
It's a theory. They're like,
yeah,
this species survived. They could have survived. Be wary.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what you want to do with that. I just wanted to make sure you had that.
Well, actually, if you're gonna tell me that, I'm just gonna be like, we believe that the Kilvami may still be out there because there were psychic species that survived the psychic wave. Is it called psychic wave?
It was just called psychic. It was called the psionic wave, and no one has a name
the psionic
for it.
Wave.
Yeah.
All right, psionic wave. So if species survived the psionic wave, it's possible that the Kilvami survived.
Perish the thought.
Well, the only bonus out of this, before we get sidetracked again from the space wind, hyper wind, is the fact that if the swarms are still alive, then maybe the two empires will stop taking over the entire universe and league up against the swarm. But that's neither here or there until we identify that unknown spaceship. I think I should defer to the group here, especially App West, and circle back to the hyperwind.
Yes, your research into the psionic correlation to hyperwinds is something I think the extraplanetary science thing.
Commission.
Yeah. Would be interested in pursuing. I could set you up with some meetings if you have a proper plan of action, something that we can assign a price tag to, and we can talk about sponsoring this activity and perhaps providing you with resources, scientists.
Irene, build me a Cerebro.
Would it be our assumption that the hyperwinds have any correlation at all, even if it's like a reverse correlation, if that's a term, to the current like hyperspace tracks that we take?
Well, Nikipi knowledge on hyperwinds is simply that they are a leftover technological artifact of the Empyrean age that is obviously not functioning the way it was originally meant to. It's artificially accelerated hyperspace, and since we have no maps from the Empyrean age, we don't know where it is, and we don't know how it operates. Fortunately, we are not even beginning to understand the technology of the ancient Imperia.
If the hyperwinds are accelerated hyperspace, is it possible they originally had correlations to black holes? Like this ship does?
Anything's possible. And now that we know that hyperspace is affected by black holes, maybe the black holes are affecting the hyperwinds. But these are all topics for, scientists. I'm more of a bureaucrat. Although I find all this fascinating. She nods reassuringly.
We can put together a sort of a research grant proposal. We'll just need a little time to decide how we wanted to focus our research lens on the topic at hand. Because there are, as you can see, many fields of study just within the concept of psychic abilities correlation to spatial hyperlocation, I guess is the word to say there. We'll need to narrow that lens. And as we narrow that lens, we'll come into an idea that is approachable by the Nikipi research whatever. I have it written down as like the Nikipi Science Commission or something.
It's the Interplanetary something commission. I have
something.
Nikipi Extraplanetary Science Commission. I have it written down right
Nikipi
here.
Extraplanetary Science Commission. Yes, HypoS would remember that.
Or the
he
NESC.
More about bureaucracy than I do. Yeah, it's just it doesn't make a fun word.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, give us some time to discuss what we feel would be the more feasible approach for the Nikipi Interplanetary Science Commission, and then we'll be able to propose it for grant research. And you could refer to your scientists on exactly how feasible it is. Yes?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
If possible, would it be allowed to connect the Involucre to the network on this research station so that we could have access to what's free to
we can give you
read?
Student access. However,
Very
most
well,
of our
and-
information is proprietary. So
Yes, I understand
Also,
that,
I
but also
understand
to
that,
contact scientists.
you're carrying a cargo hold full of metals and components salvaged from the Precept, and I have been authorized to make an offer if you're willing to sell. However, given your history of the Wild Cluster, there's not an official exchange rate between Nikipi Krens and ingots, but perhaps we can find a reasonable exchange rate, unless you'd like Krens, in which case we can do that. If not, I mean, we can. I'm sure you'll find buyers everywhere for that.
What does everyone else think? I feel like the Nikipi Interplanetary Science Commission is the least likely to use this to hurt people. So, like, whether or
Yes.
not they were willing to pay us the most, I feel the best about selling to Nikipi.
Agreed.
And
Same.
And-
And we could always exchange for like partial credits and maybe stuff that we need.
Krens.
Credits.
yes, Krens.
What were you
Yeah,
gonna
because
say?
credits Slag would be very happy.
Finally.
But yeah, so I would say in the deal, to avoid the translation between Krens and Ingots, if we ever go to that path, we should make it so that it should pay for our stay here for as long as needed, and then the remaining would be, like, we would give them all the material and we would get the remaining as payment. So we wouldn't have to worry about, like, food, lodging, and whatnot if we wanted to stay on the station instead of in the ship.
Well, just from a narrative perspective, you probably get more value out of Krens, but of course that currency is only used on Nacha, the system that Nikipi's in. So
Yeah.
you'd get more value, but you wouldn't be able to spend it anywhere else. But you could, use the money to set up a nice little investment here or what have you, or at least come here to resupply. It's not like a huge amount of Krens, but it is it's money.
Well, and then
It's a sizable.
we don't necessarily for intentional purposes don't really have a base of operations.
Right.
Having a relatively neutral / safe harbor that is close to the wild cluster, but not necessarily in the wild cluster, so that if we need to bug out, it's
And not
a
necessarily
horrible
controlled
idea.
by Reaper Syndicate or Thush
Right.
Cartel.
Right, not a horrible idea.
Yeah, out of all the
No, I like it.
factions you've met, the Nikipi are the most chill. For sure.
Well, and we have the best relations with at the moment.
It goes hand in hand with them being chill. So do you guys want it in Krens?
Yep.
Might as well, yeah.
Yes.
And like, find a nice little flat that we could
Get yourself a
kind
little
of
safe
rent
house.
out. Yeah, get ourselves a little safe house.
And when you're not using it, you just put it on Airbnb. Or sorry, Space
Exactly.
B&B.
Space B&B.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea.
Okay. You guys get to work on that. I think that's going to conclude the meeting. Until you guys have a proposal, there's not much you can do. You got some cool information out of her. Some scary information.
Yeah. I do like the concept of the hyperwinds potentially being connected to whatever this Citadel ship is using around the black hole, and the fact that the Nikipi believe that the hyperwinds are a technological artifact of the Empyreans, where it's artificially stimulated hyperspace. I think some connection, especially if this Citadel ship is I can't remember the what are the
Kilvami?
insectoids? Yeah, if they're Kilvami and the Kilvami are rumored to be a highly psionically active race, and we know that the Empyreans were highly invested into psionic technology.
Mm.
I really like the idea of there being a connection there, especially if it's, and this is just Vegas spitballing, but I really like. I'm excited to see if the hyperwinds were created by the Empyreans utilizing some form of artificial black hole that didn't it replicated the effects of it, but wasn't actually a black hole. Like,
So, in departing from that meeting, we have a little bit of rain here, right?
Yeah, and you've got cheddar cheese too. So
Well, really, the thing is, I have some cultural specializations. Hypewest has some cultural training that comes from his background as a bit of a aristocrat with his Solis family.
yeah,
That I haven't really gotten to flex, and I would like to try to in kind of a roundabout way, because I do have a cultural specialization in the Sphere Mandate. Both the Sphere Mandate and the Saldrosi Empire are areas of my research. I think it would be interesting to try and intuit or research somehow the paths and behaviors of exploratory vessels run by Exolvi, in the hopes that maybe we could find other Exolvi vessels which had come into contact with either black holes or Citadel vessels, or otherwise were able to report in some way that something strange had happened. Like maybe in my, this is such a roundabout way to do this, but like maybe in my cultural research there are stories of running.
everything after stories of we didn't get.
Oh, that's fine, because I only said like 3 words after that. I was like, of stories of large, either predatory
Okay,
or exploratory
give me
vessels.
a culture check.
Because I'm specifically thinking Sphere Mandate.
Yes,
Exolvi,
you can
yeah,
use Sphere Mandate. Yeah.
I'm using my specialization. I was just clarifying.
I'm actually thinking back to what we found back in near the Narabi rig. What I found that really psychically charged place in the past. I almost wonder if there's more stuff like
That's
that
a
on that
roll.
planet we could find out.
That's a 21. I assume that's at least an excellent.
It's a stellar, just
Oh,
barely. I was just
shit.
very excited to see, like, actually, no, it's right on the nose. It's a
Okay,
stellar.
so I'm going to have your character take some logical leaps because it's not like you actually have Sphere Mandate information, right? So this is like rumor and information secondhand, but obviously
I
you got
thought it was a jump just coming up with the idea to roll, so it's fine.
right, but this is all secondhand information at best. But you know, using your cultural knowledge and talking around the city and you know exploring libraries and whatnot and looking at Nikipi history in relation to the Sphere Mandate, you are able to find that a lot of the this area over here on the map. Let me pop over the map for everybody. This area over here is called the Fringe, and then this kind of these 3 areas are called the Tri-State region because there's 3 states and they form a triangle. You know, so all the maps that Nikipi had, yes, I know, come from the Tri-State area and the Fringe. I realized what it was when I said it, but now it's canon. I see you, Vegas. I see you. Yes.
The Tri-State area.
Yes.
I'm taking notes. Please don't stop talking.
Okay. Doofenshmirtz, Evil Incorporated. Okay. All the maps that the Nikipi have of here, including hyperspace routes, they bought from Sphere Mandate wayfarers. And that included the Sphere Mandate charting, that's the word, all 4 of these fucking black holes. And in reviewing the public records of those star maps, you notice that one of well, actually, it's probably the exploratory command carrier because there's probably only one in that region. Spent an unusual amount of time around OHO 9631B. Now, obviously, you don't have any data of what it was collecting, but because of the way they sold those star charts, it had a record of this ship's movements, and it just kind of stopped at that black hole. I can ping it. It stopped at that black hole for an unusual amount of time. I hope that was what you asked for, because you got a stellar success, so I was trying to give you the best information I could.
These notes just stopped like making a sense at a point because I was writing too quickly, but that just means they were good.
Jake, and I was interested in like maybe seeing if there were records more of what was the planet? Is it Narab? Where the Narabi rig was? What planet was that?
That was in Inzod or Inzob. It's in the notes.
I think Inzod with a D.
I think it's Inzod with a D.
I think that Alisi would be looking for more ruins in that area because I found some pretty powerful psychic stuff there.
Do you want to make an academic psychic lore?
Yes. That is an average.
Okay. There is a museum built around built within and around an old Empyrean psychic facility. It's obviously defunct, but it was believed to be a training facility for Empyrean psionics. And it's a kind of like a museum tour. Anything that scientists or anthropologists, archaeologists could derive from it, they have. So now it's kind of just like it's almost like a Egypt kind of tour location. It's a tourist spot. And they don't have a whole lot of information on the tour. It's more like, look how cool this Empyrean architecture is. We believe this room was used for this. It's all conjecture because no one knows.
If we get a chance, I want to go there.
Okay. I want to roll academics. Not sure chemistry. To gather as much research data on hyperwinds. No, it definitely wouldn't be chemistry. That would be a science check.
Science, okay.
Ja.
What do I have under science? Oh yeah, science is chemistry. Anyway, same question, but no chemistry. Okay, so just science?
Yeah.
+1 because technician. Do I get +1 because of I have student access to the research labs, or no?
You do not have access to research labs because, well, you do have access to the student. Yeah, so go ahead and get a +1 step for that.
Okay, so +2 total. For science, that is excellent.
Ooh, 13 is excellent. Okay. So hyperspace cannot be defined in terms that we, new guy Jagan, could understand because it's a fictitious it's a dimensional space where rules are different. And when you enter hyperspace, you literally punch from one dimension to the next, travel in that dimension, and then leave that dimension back into the core dimension.
Yep.
That's how it works in this. That's how it works in this universe. So, hyper winds are obviously the hyperspace is accelerated in terms of speed, and also it doesn't have to worry about time dilation. Like that doesn't happen in hyperspace. Hyper winds are rapidly accelerated regions of hyperspace that travel in one direction. So if you hit a hyperwind while in hyperspace, your ship is pulled along the hyperwind, like hitting rapids. You just brushed along by the current. Every reported incident of interacting with hyperwinds says that hyperwinds usually eject you. The theory is quite randomly. They just kind of eject you out of the hyperwinds, and your ship drops out back into normal space at a random location somewhere along the hyperwind, wherever it goes. And like your contact was saying, the Nikipi theory is that the hyperwinds are a remnant of artificially accelerated hyperspace used for galactic travel by the Empyrean by Imperia.
Yeah. So
Basically-
these pockets.
Yeah, basically,
Okay.
because hyperspace can only go so fast, regardless of your engine,
Yeah.
right? There's like a max speed that you can achieve in hyperspace. And in order to travel the galaxy quickly, you would need the hyperwinds. You would need an accelerated section of hyperspace. Or otherwise, it would take months to travel from one end of the galaxy to the next at top speeds.
And these pockets of hyperwinds, do they move?
The recorded hyperwinds have not moved.
All right.
But also, no one is getting close enough to find out. But we do know that they oscillate in size.
Yes,
Their direction hasn't changed, but they do kind of like do this.
And
Yeah, the
As
hyperwinds expand and contract.
Yes.
yes,
But they don't. So far, there's no record of them shifting course. They just, yeah. But it has been 1,000 years since the Nikipi believe they haven't been maintained, so they could have settled into wherever they are if they moved at all, or if this was by design. Yeah.
and from ships that encountered hyperwinds, there was no outside damage caused by the hyperwinds once they dropped out of hyperwinds.
Right, and also if you were in our space, you can go right through a hyperwind and nothing will happen to you because. Did we just lose Discord? Am I still streaming?
Well, you disconnected. Everybody else was here. Fine.
Am
We
I still
lost
streaming?
you. Stream is up, but we are all mixed up now. Oh, now we're coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
We just lost Discord?
Discord just decided to hate you, I guess.
Just me? Do you still have it?
Yeah.
I saw it.
Literally just you.
Oh, okay.
Discord just hated you for that minute.
Oh, all right. Well, fuck you too.
Okay, so you were saying about the
Where was I?
I said the wind, a ship that came out of the hyperwinds because they hit it, they were not damaged externally, and then you were going to explain.
You had said that the hyperwinds, that people weren't damaged specifically from coming out of the hyperwinds.
Right. The damage comes from the fact that you're dumped out in a random place with no star
Yes.
chart, and usually no one ever comes back.
Yes. So that would lead to say that the hyperwinds, whatever particle makes them, because they're affected, you can affect them with psychokinesis. We've seen that happen, or at least read them, not affect them, but read them. That would make it so that. Sorry.
I was saying, I hope I can learn to affect them or navigate them. That'd be
Yes.
awesome.
So, from a logical standpoint, whatever makes them hyperwinds does not affect physical particles of ships. That's the only conclusion you can make out of everything. Okay. Was there any research paper looking into harnessing or reducing the energy of an hyperwind by throwing something into it?
If there is, it's not available in the student database.
Damn it!
So here's what I was thinking, and this is what I was thinking even whenever we first started initially researching the hyperwinds, and that was like kind of our front for getting out to this black hole, is was a kind of way to amplify and or extend the abilities of Elise. Like, what if these ancient ships were able to take one psionic? Because it didn't make sense to have just a bunch of psionics working on this thing. That much manpower for, hyper travel doesn't make sense. But if one psionic was able to power hyper travel through an extension of their abilities on board the ships, then that would make more like logical sense. And if that could happen, that means I fully trust in Irene's abilities. That means Irene could effectively make the same thing happen.
That's not in Irene's wheelhouse, but she is an excellent engineer in general. That would also require some capital.
Yeah, so I think what we would want to do as far as suggesting
Write that into our research grant.
Like, as far as suggesting research and the research grant is, what if we could develop a kind of if Elise is the software, we have software capabilities with Elise's psionic capability, like powers. We need a hardware to use it, though. And we don't know necessarily how to build that hardware until we get some juice in there, some funding in there to play around with it. So I think if we were going to ask for research grants, it should be on how to maximize Elise's capabilities, because she's already quite capable, as opposed to us being like, well, I don't know, we're going to drive around some hyperwinds to see how far they expand. We already know how far they expand. We already know that they expand X times the original radius and whatever, like it over pi or something like that. Like, as far as they have researched, they go out this far and then we lose people because they die. We want to know something they have never touched before, which is psionic capability. And the only way we can extend that outside of Elise, like really throwing herself at it, is for us to find synthetic ways for Elise to expand her ability.
Well, yeah, we already know the where. We already have a really good idea of the who, the Empyrean. We need the what, why, and how. Like, we need to understand what we even have a really good idea of the what the hyperwinds are, but the why and the how is the real important thing here. Why did the Empyreans maintain these pockets of artificially accelerated hyperspace, and how do we tap into that? So yeah, we need basically the research grant should be, like you were saying, is a let us get out there, let us fuck with it, let us put in some experimental hardware infrastructure and see if we can't activate the how and the why.
And like, so I'm at a kind of an impasse as far as character stuff is wise, because like Hyper West is not interested so much as in the why, as much as Caddy as a person is interested in the like, ooh, why? And I had put it in our, the player chat, like, oh, what if the hyperwinds breathe like barrels in a rick house, where it is necessary for them to expand and contract to like propel ships through that? And I'm like, oh, Hyperwest wouldn't think of this. But I think Hyperwest, in a lot of ways, would be interested in finding new paths for ships to take, because they wouldn't be controlled by these powers. So for Hyperwest, it is
avoid the toll roads.
It is, for Hyperwest, it is very much like people deserve to travel, and people deserve to explore and expand and grow and learn more about what there is in the world. Because if they learn more about what there is in the world, they might learn about us, and they might learn that you don't have to fight and scrounge and kill each other for, honesty and fairness and kindness out of other people, which seems kind of silly because we have definitely killed people before. But it's not our first route by any means. It's never the initial route we take. And so I think for Hyperwesty is like, can we find ways to route people through systems that aren't controlled exclusively by the Sphere Mandate or controlled and reported to the Saldrazi Empire. And so I want my research team to feel I want research team. I want Elise to be able to learn more about how psionic ability was used before. And I want Irene to feel that she is engaged in her work. And I want Razik to feel that he was doing good that might keep people from being harmed or might keep people from dying early on. And ultimately that, as far as Hyperwest was injured before, he still very much is compelled by what can make the people around me shine. And so I want to pursue these things if only it is this will allow more freedom to the people who are really doing amazing work. And so I think Hyperwest is listening in. I think he is meeting with everyone to see what they think is fascinating. And I think he is going to try and make that sound as compelling as he can to this Nikipi Interplanetary Science Commission.
Speaking of which, during one of those meetings, Razik would probably move over to Irene and ask Irene something. Irene, assuming they don't already have those on the space station, do you think it would be feasible to build autonomous drones, unarmed, just basic flying things, that would report the location back to us or back to the research station, and the next time we go to these hyperwinds, we could throw or try to throw 2 or 3 of them, hopefully at the same time in the hyperwinds, and see if they come up in random locations or if they all come out at the same spot. And then they would report the location so we would know where they landed.
Essentially beacon probes?
Yeah.
Yes. My concern though is that let's say we launch a probe into the hyperwind and it gets, for lack of a better term, railgunned across the galaxy. Depending on how far it is, we may not hear from it quickly, if at all, ever again. It's absolutely worth looking into, but it would have to be able to ping off of an existing communications array and then go through the network to get back to us. It's doable. I don't know if it's something that they've tried before. It's worth looking into, though. I'm 100% on board with it. I was about to ask if Jacob froze, but then he blinked. Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, that's what So, Jake,
there is a Whisper feature in Foundry. You do @ and then the name you want, space, message.
Okay, I'll get to that soon, actually. But there also is Jakin is unable to see the player chat whenever we are streaming, so I wanted to clue him in. We were all talking about. It seems agreed among Jesus.
Among Jesus.
I kept trying to say among, and it said I was saying upon, and I was like, that is not the word I mean. It seems agreed that we are going to need. I love the Involucre, and I love its name, and I love everything about it. But it seems we will need a bigger ship, if only for the fact that we want to continue our quests in a much larger scope and a much larger scale. We want to be able to help more people, and that is not going to happen if we can only house 4 people on the ship.
We're going to need an Enterprise.
Yeah, that's something we're looking towards, and I wanted to clue you in on it. But it was also something someone else said. I can't quite remember what they said exactly that made me feel that way. But it was the idea of a larger communications array and a larger ability to house information and people.
And if we do try to build something to enhance Elise's psychic abilities, we'd probably need space to put that.
Y'all, it's Providence. A couple weeks ago, I bought a research ship from 0 Hour.
Here's the deal. I'm not a researcher. All I ever want to be, HyperWest is not. All I ever want to be is like a focusing power, like a magnifying glass for the sunshine of these great minds I adore to shine through, and for me to focus those things into pinpoints which can light a flame of revolution. That is.
Yeah, that's
That's
HyperWest.
all.
That is so beautiful.
Thank you. That is all I want to be. I want the light of Irene and Elise and Razik,
To pass through my magnifying glass and scorch the ant of oppression.
For Irene, it is the freedom of knowledge, and for Elise, it is the freedom of the mind to explore, and for Razik, it is the freedom of the body to live and to grow and expand and become all that it possibly could be. And HyperWest, as far as he views himself, is just kind of a focusing power to create a blaze. And all I want to do is that. So with that in mind, I do want the three of them to be thinking about how we suggest a research course to the Nikipi Science Commission.
And then we lost her. You know, when Discord asked me, how did you like this call? I'm not going to give the smiley face.
Oh. Ooh.
That we might be kind of frozen. Don't give them the smiley face. Don't give them the smiley face.
No
Wendigo,
smiley face,
stop
Discord.
Well, I think we've kind of already narrowed down where our research grant proposal should be, in that we want to go back out to this one particular hyperwind that we were able to not necessarily identify, we already identified, but to that we were able to confirm the psychic connection, and at that one start using some
What are we awing? I missed it.
Start using some standard mundane telemetry methods with probes and whatnot, but also to really dig into the psychic connection and see if we can't determine the purpose of these from the perspective of the Empyreans, and if we can take advantage of that original purpose or repair it back to its original function. It's a very wide grant proposal, but I think that's kind of what we're looking for, kind of free reign to do what we need to do without a bureaucracy breathing red tape down our neck.
We're talking a lot out of character, and that's because we're covering a long range of time. But it sounds like the crew needs to have an in-character meeting about what they're trying to gain from all this. Do y'all think you want to do that right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, we cut to the lounge of the Involucre. Or do you guys already have your apartment?
I probably not the apartment yet.
Lounge of the Involucre.
Okay, so we have already covered in this meeting the redistribution of the chore wheel and an agreement to all devotedly refill the rehydration chamber.
Crunch.
We have all look, Razik, I won't take any of that lip.
He doesn't have lips.
Okay.
That's racist.
Okay. In this meeting, we have already handled those things. So now we come down to in a couple of days' time, we will need to show up in front of the Nikipi Research Committee to apply for a grant. And while we have discussed exactly how to write this research proposal, we need to narrow down some specifics. So I am listening to everybody. As always, the entire crew has equal say in what we do next, because nobody is particularly in charge here.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah, no. Obviously, when we're researching something new that we need some hardware engineered to make it work. Everyone's equal, and no one has any more expertise than the other.
Everyone is equal because the hardware we need is involved in psionic capabilities. And Ruzik is our impartial adjudicator because he is someone who I greatly respect for his own care and decency for human life and also saving my butt. So that is how we are going to progress from here on out. As ridiculous as Ruzik may seem, as much as his hey Irene, what's a nice word for whining? Do you remember one?
I prefer your
remember one.
beginning of your speech.
Whinging.
Whinging. Oh, that doesn't sound nicer because it still has a WHI sound, which I feel like is what really. As much as Razik's advice can often chafe against practicality, we respect his ability as a health professional, as well as his doctorate and his licensing as a medical professional. So we will not push too hard against his opinion. And because Elise's...
Damn.
Damn it.
Because Elise is a walking
Oh,
badass.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah.
Yes, you're back.
No, Elise's ability as a psionic is met equally by your ability. Look, I'm not trying to insult you. This is definitely a pedestal for Elise to stand on. Is met equally by your ability as a mechanic and an engineer and an inventor. I feel that everyone here is on equal grounds. If only I am below you in status, power, and pragmatism. So please continue.
Yeah, we need to launch some probes at it. Probes.
Yes.
Hypo scribbles the word probes in big letters on his notes.
I just thought of something else as well. We want to enhance Elise's ability using hardware. What I'm about to say, I do not entirely agree, but for the purpose of this research grant, I would allow it. Have we thought about chemical enhancements?
I thought you were going to suggest making me a cyborg. Are there any kind of chemical enhancements?
Psychic roids!
The thing is I don't think there's any chemicals that can enhance psionic abilities, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means they haven't been created yet.
God damn. I was about to
Where's
say.
it going?
I was about to say there is a chemical that enhances psionic ability. It's called DMT.
Okay. I am interested in this. Because the intersection of Razik, Irene, and Elise's ability. The little triangle in these three circles of the trifecta diagram. Right, this Venn diagram.
The tri-state area.
The tri-state area is this. Right? Elise's abilities are psionic, which means they are linked to the mind. And how is the mind linked to the brain? And that is where Elise and Razik intersect, right? Elise and Irene intersect in the connection of the psychic or the psionic with the cosmic wave. And Irene and Razik's ability intersect in the way that the mind is an electrical. If we're using sci-fi, the mind is an electrical.
It's a mechanical system.
It's a mechanical system where there are chemicals and electrical impulses which are associated with certain abilities. That little triangle is that we are trying to research right now. That little bit that is effectively our proposed area of research also happens to be the exact area where all of your fields of study intersect. It's perfect. It is.
I really love your enthusiasm.
Thank you. So, what I wrote in very large capital letters, but they happen to be in cursive, so it's hard to read, is how does Elise's ability interact with the physical and mechanical elements of cosmic travel? You can't read that in these scribbles, but that is what it says. So, that is our proposed area of research, which means Irene and Razik will have to finally get along. They will have to get along. Because what we need to understand is the brain as a machine. Not just the brain as how does it keep the human body alive, but how does the brain interact with the psionic ability, which means Razik and Irene will have to collect data about how Elise uses her abilities, which means Elise is going to keep using psychic lore while we pick up data. And then while we pick up data, we will understand where Elise is making those connections in her mind. And then whenever we connect to those, yes, new guy, that is exactly it. Once we understand what connections are being made in Elise's mind, we can direct those and amplify those towards a cosmic wave. And now Jacob is funny because he's going to have to write neurocosmic lore. And Jacob was like, I wanted cowboys.
Don't out me. They can read it.
It's on there. They can read
Some
it.
people are listening.
Actually, I think this is pretty fucking cool. I just don't know how I'm gonna make it interesting for the show.
I am so like I'm like taking a huge jump off the highest like platform of the the high school, the Olympic.
Okay, well, now that we're back in talking out of character, I would like to
Yes.
say that neither myself nor Dire Roll condones the use of illicit or otherwise
Performance
enhancing drugs such as, but not limited to, DMT
or steroids.
or steroids.
And I'm sure Jacob came into this campaign going like,
However,
so-
however,
Oh.
if Joe Rogan would like to guest, we'll take you.
We got DMT in our game.
We'll take you. You were saying,
I mean,
Zach?
to show you,
I would-
but
I was saying Jacob probably came into this campaign going like, yeah, they're just gonna be anarchist murder hobos, and now we're here trying to invent science.
No, it's pretty fucking cool. I gotta make it an adventure, so.
yeah,
But I
like
think
this is interesting to me. But anybody else?
Oh, I think it's fucking cool.
I'm 100% on board with it. Like,
I'm
As
still
well.
calling this episode "Let's Kill 'Em All."
yeah, 100%.
Okay. I think there's nowhere to go tonight, so I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a night, and we're gonna do shout outs. Vegas, did you want to do one tonight? I messaged you. Okay, so I don't remember how we went last time. Well, PR went first because he was the guest. You want to go first, Caddy? Sure. Okay. So, Caddy, go ahead.
So, normally in my shout out, I say like, "Hey, follow us," and then follow me, and then like check out stuff I'm selling. Next, so during this week is my birthday. I'll be turning 24 on Thursday, which is super exciting. But for the past year or so, on my birthday, I've been raising funds for a thing that isn't me. In particular, it's been something called the Lighthouse Transitional Care. I'm still kind of related to it. My older sister started this foundation to raise funds to help orphans who are aging out of the orphan system in Northern Europe adjust to adult life. And as someone who has gained a lot from having parents in my adult life, where I'm like, hey, how do I apply for car insurance? And hey, how do I get this fixed? Hey, how do I find a job and act like an adult? What my sister does is really important to me. So if you feel inclined, obviously follow us on Twitter because we'll be releasing stuff. And as I get sketches of this Citadel ship, which I'm very excited to paint, you'll see them there. But also, like maybe consider that because she does cool work and I'm very proud of her. But that's it for me.
Awesome, thank you. Elenia, you are up.
Hey guys, I don't have much except my Twitter and my Etsy shop. My Twitter is at @EleniaZol. My Etsy shop is called I think it's just Ultimate Nerd Stop, not the Ultimate Nerd Stop. I usually make hats, scarves, occasionally blankets, and right now I'm into coasters right now. So making coasters. These are actually for sale on the Etsy site. So if you're interested, they're there. Go get them. I'm gonna be designing some more later this week. It had a crazy last 2 weeks at work, so now it's calming down. Hopefully, I'll be able to actually get to work on some new ones. So if you have any design ideas, just shoot me a tweet and I'll see what I can do.
Awesome. Let me unmute on Discord so the players can hear me too. All right, everybody, that's going to be the session. I've got a lot of prepping to do before the next one. I hope everybody had some fun. I know that we are definitely. I'm personally as a game master and someone who created his own setting. I really love the passion you guys are showing for some of my mysteries, and I'm trying to decide how much I want to reveal in one campaign. Because it's all up here, people. None of this is stabbing in the dark. So thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a wonderful night and a wonderful week, and we hope to see you again next Sunday for some more Dire Roll Lost Horizon. Have a good night.